coming.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Let's Talk Movies podcast with me, John, and David, a.k.a. Shamrock Balls. And to steal a line that he used last week, we're going from Judgment Day to Judgment Night, because today we're talking about 1993's Judgment Night, directed by Stephen Hopkins. And David, how you doing today?
Doing good, John. What about yourself?
Doing all right. Can't complain.
Okay. And before we start, I just want to ask, how are we going to progress with this podcast tonight? How are we going to do it?
Hey, I think we'll talk a little bit about the pre-production, the movie, and then, get into things.
Yes, sir, boss. Yeah. Great line in the film. I really enjoyed that line from Cuba Gooding Jr.
You got the eye right when you did it too.
Oh, did I? Didn't realize?
I thought you did. Felt like I was looking at a lighter version of Cuban Gooding here.
The skinhead also too, which he has in later life. I don't think he has it in this movie. But yeah, this is our Estafes September. This is it. Judgment Night.
Judgment Night. And yeah, besides Emilio Estevez, just like a lot of Emilio Estevez films, he's got a great supporting cast in this movie around him. Like, he's one of the stars. He's a co-star in this movie, but everybody else is just as recognizable, I think.
Yeah, and there's a few faces that pop up that are a pleasant surprise, which I actually totally forgot was in this movie until I watched it again.
I forgot 100%, even though I just saw this for the first time last year.
Yeah, I totally forgot as well, and I'm sure we're going to point that guy out. But yeah, you have a cast here of Emilio Estevez, Cuba Gooding Jr., Dennis Leary, who's actually a comedian, I think, in real life.
Dennis Leary is one of my favorite people. I love Dennis Leary.
Yeah, and then we've got Stephen Dorff and Jeremy Piven.
Who Jeremy Piven we just talked about in Heat around the same time of this.
Yeah, that's right. And when we were done the Heat podcast, I knew his face but couldn't place him, and you were the one that said to me, he's in Judgment Night, and right away I went, yes, that's him. That's where I know his face from. But first of all, just how I came to Judgment Night, this was a movie that I seen on Sky Movies in and around the early to mid 90s. Well, the film came out in 1993, so it must have been maybe 94, because I think it was late 93 it was released in the cinemas. I wasn't aware of the movie at all, but it was one of the movies that came on like Sky Movies, and I seen it and just really enjoyed it. Just really enjoyed this quick-paced kind of thriller, very grounded, kind of even to that age, kind of putting myself in that kind of dilemma myself. What would you do? This is a scary situation that you're in, that you're being hunted down by this gang of ruthless criminals, psychotic criminals, just normal, everyday, average guys. And I'd seen the movie a few times, and it stuck with me, and many years went by, and one of them movies that always popped into my head. Oh, I love that, because of Emilio Estevez, me being an Estevez fan, it was like one of his movies that always popped into my head. I was like, oh, I remember Judgment Night, that was a good movie. And then all of a sudden, HMV, they do a Blu-ray collection called the Premium Collection. I don't know if you're aware of that, are you?
No, but I have the Judgment Night, my Judgment Night Blu-ray right here, actually, that I got as a gift, which is how I came to this movie. It was from one of the subscribers here on the channel, director Kevin Kruger. That's how I actually saw this. Was for the first time on this Blu-ray right here. So I wonder if it's the same scan.
Yeah, it might be. Well, HMV, anybody who's watching from like the UK or whatever, they are a physical media company that Richard that wasn't Richard Branson. I'm thinking of Virgin Megastores, get mixed up. Or sorry, HMV. So they basically sell used to sell cassettes, vinyl, CDs, used to sell VHSs, then they were on the DVDs, now they sell Blu-rays and 4Ks. They've been around for years, and they have their own kind of collection. Now, I don't know if they're producing new premium collection Blu-rays, but this was part of their set. Like, for example, they done like movies like John, they've done The Shining, and they've done Gremlins 2 and things like that. So all of a sudden then Judgment Night popped up, and I was like, I have to get that. I haven't seen it in years, and I remember really loving it. And I thought I need to give it another watch. And it was one of them ones I was a wee bit kind of apprehensive about because I thought to myself, as you and Dennis talk about, is it greater where you ate? Now I was a wee bit older than 8 when I seen this, but I kind of was like, I hope it's as good as I remember. And see, when I popped it on and watched it again, I was like, yeah, it's not any better than I remember, but it's not any worse. It's still a very enjoyable film.
Yeah, this movie is like because I came to this always to me was a movie that I knew the name of. I call it like a Wikipedia page film where because there's a lot of big names in this movie, so when you go on their filmography, it's one of those movies you kind of just scroll by. Like, Judgment Night just sounds like a generic movie that a bunch of people are in because nobody I've ever really heard brings up this movie at all, which is crazy because again, the cast is stacked.
Yeah, and it's a great cast, and I think it's well acted, and I think it's competently directed as well, and
Looks
I think
great.
it looks great, and I think there's genuinely some real suspenseful moments in it, and you do actually fear for the main characters as the movie is going on, that they're not going to survive or who is going to survive, and I just like how, as well as how Emilio Estevez underplays his character. And I think they all kind of do that to a lot, they degree. They all underplay, they just play like relatable, regular guys. Nobody's a superhero in this. Even the bad guys, as bad as they are, even Dennis Leary, who is very, could would say, flamboyant and is, the way he speaks, speeches and things like that, but he's still very grounded and comes across as a very scary guy.
Well, he's very much doing what Dennis Leary does in this movie, which is just basically this feels like he got hired for his stand-up comedy at the time. Like this is basically what he's doing in this movie is what he's doing in like Demolition Man. It's very much like his stand-up routine, that fast talking wise guy, smart ass kind of guy. And that's kind of what he's doing here in this movie too. So I feel like he got hired to like do his stand-up in this movie a little bit, but he does kind of draw it back a little bit. He's not like going the entire time because he does come off scary at points.
Yeah, and I think that Jeremy Piven as well, he's another comedian as well, isn't he?
Yeah, he's you ever see the show or heard of the show Entourage? I was never a really big fan of it, but that's like what really made him famous.
Yeah, I don't think I'm familiar with it because I think some of these, like, I know of Dennis Leary, but I think the likes of the Jeremy Piven and people like that are probably more known in the States than they are over here.
Yeah, I can see that. I actually wasn't even thinking about that. Like, Dennis Leary sung a song called "Asshole." That's, have you ever heard of the show Rescue Me? Like, but those are like
No.
things that like I always kind of think of Dennis Leary for. Yeah, so maybe he is like an American, but Jeremy Piven, like, he's like kind of around. He was never really somebody I absolutely loved. Like, I didn't really like Entourage, but he's in a few movies here and there.
So it isn't wasn't he in Loaded Weapon?
Jeremy Piven?
Hmm.
He might have been. Like, he's like, what's surprising about him is he looks younger now than he does in like movies like this because his hair's so thin. He's got like hair plugs, so he's got kind of thicker hair now, which is crazy.
That's what I need to do.
Yeah, I mean, no, you look good. You pull off the I always, when I look at you, the first things I think of are like what's his name? Clarence Boddicker.
I thought these wee spectacles.
Yeah.
So guns.
Guns.
Guns, guns, guns. The Tigers are playing tonight.
Never miss a game.
Never miss a game. But we'll get into the production here. It was a budget of $21 million, John. So it was. Since we're talking about the cast, may as well get into the production. And the project had been in the works for several years, and it was originally titled Escape.
Which makes sense based on the entire plot of this movie, which, very rare. Well, not rare, but it's always fun to have a movie that just literally takes place over the course of one night.
Yeah, and something popped in my head today when I was thinking about Judgment Night. And I don't know if this film influenced this. I mean, but I think, was it when Mike Tyson fought Evander Holyfield the first time? It was 1996. The promo, or the way they started naming big fights, from the Rumble in the Jungle, Thriller in Manila, things like that. I'm near certain that fight was called Judgment Night.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. I was trying to figure out if it was like the title was like biblical or anything like that. Like, isn't like Judgment Day like something that's in the Bible? Like I don't know. Like they bring up a lot in this movie how they're so close to their homes, but like they just completely like ignore this part of town. Like, is this like kind of like I don't know. I was trying to think like facing the rest of the people who are like lower or beneath you. I was trying to figure out what the title exactly meant for this movie.
Yeah, exactly. And look, the whole boxing thing, that's probably a stretch for me. But when I used to see a promo Judgment Night, I always used to remind me of this movie. And the thing is, even the way you've got the rating there, I think it's near identical to that. And but you're right about the whole kind of idea because about people ignoring I mean, these are middle class guys
Yeah.
going out. I mean, they seem to be doing well in their lives, especially Jeremy Piven. We'll get into that, of course, as the movie goes on. But the thing is that this is a part of society that they, as you say, don't want to acknowledge exists. And I get the feeling that Dennis Leary's character has animosity towards the middle class.
Yeah, because they're not thankful for like even what they have, and like they still like turn their nose down to people
Hmm.
lower than them, which is like kind of what society always does. You got the rich, you got the middle class, and you got the poor, but
Hmm.
everyone's always like still like never always ignores what's beneath them.
Yeah, and it's kind of like a yin and a yang type of thing. He's looking at them and going, "You can't comprehend what it is or where I've came from. You think money's going to buy me, money, and things like that." That money kind of theme runs through that. I mean, the fact that they take the money off the guy at the start who shot, and he gives it to the gang, you know,
Hmm.
outside the apartments. In other words, money that really doesn't mean anything to this guy.
No,
Does it really?
it's almost like he's a martyr for like everybody down there because if I'm correct, this is filmed in Cabrini Green in Chicago, which is
Yeah.
exactly where Candyman takes place. So it's a known lower income area in Chicago.
Yeah, and I believe that the studio actually, when they were getting dailies, thought they were using matte paintings,
Which
and
is crazy.
and the director said no, that's actually just what it looks like down there.
Yeah, which should make you feel terrible because again,
Yeah,
that's kind of like the point. It's like I think at one point he says like, Ray, isn't your house like 10 miles away from here? Like, isn't your
yeah,
front door like literally 10 miles away from here? Like, so what are you saying? Like, I would never come down here. Like, you're right here.
yeah, exactly. It's a place that they don't want to acknowledge exists, and these people mean nothing to them, and they just can't wait to get away from them. And I think that Dennis Leary's character has animosity towards probably that kind of snobbery from the middle classes towards his community. You know, not justifying his psychotic behavior, but it seems that is a part of his mo. It's part of his motive in hunting these guys down. It's little to do with witness or money or anything like that. He just detests these type of people, these middle class people. But a producer from Largo Entertainment bought the rights in 1990, John. And Largo Entertainment, they had also produced Point Break
Classic.
and Time Cop. But there's the only two real famous ones I've seen. There was other ones in there, but I was like, the two standout ones, especially Point Break.
Yeah, Point Break's a classic. Time Cop, it's a classic to some people.
I haven't seen it, but I hear it's got its following.
Yeah, people like if you like Jean-Claude Van Damme, like that's probably one of his more famous vehicles.
And the original script was a lot darker and more violent. So this was one of several scripts commissioned by the producers, and it had many different writers. So you'll like this. I don't know if maybe you read this because I looked this up myself. So some of the different writers on the original, or on the submission of the original script was John Carpenter, right?
Interesting. I
Yeah,
could see that based on like Escape from New York. This kind of is in the vein of that.
yeah. William Wisher,
Mm, okay, interesting as well.
who helped write the Terminator movie, the first two Terminator movies, and Randall Wallace, who wrote Braveheart, amongst other movies.
That's the only one that kind of is like, okay, I don't understand that because I don't see Braveheart in here, but I can see the Terminator in here and like the stuff. Do you see all the like stuff blowing around? It's like when the Terminator arrives.
Yeah, yeah. I looked Randall Wallace up, and I think he's written some really high profile movies. I can't remember any that spring to mind right at the moment, but obviously the most high profile one is Braveheart. So I say then British director Stephen Hopkins was hired to direct the movie. Now he said he was given a lot of scripts and it was quite a long process. He wanted to work hard to get it right.
Yeah, I think he actually did a very good job. This movie, at the very least, is very well directed. So very like I think you said competently directed, and
Competently.
I agree with that. Like it's beautifully shot. Like the setup is great, mixed in with the score and original soundtrack. Like it doesn't feel like somebody who doesn't know what they're doing.
No, and this is the thing. This is the thing that I don't understand about Stephen Hopkins because unpopular opinion here.
Mm.
I like Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5, which he directed.
I knew you were
I
gonna say that.
Yeah, I like it more than Neighbor on Elm Street Part 4.
I agree.
Now, yeah. Now, however, I'm near certain that may have been a flop.
Nightmare on Elm Street 5. I'm pretty sure the last two movies like did so bad that's why they put the entire franchise on ice.
Yeah, or maybe it wasn't a flop, but it just didn't make as much as 4. Now, 4 at that time is the highest grossing in the franchise. But I'm not sure. But look, it wasn't well received. Okay. But he also went on to direct Predator 2. Now, to me, Predator 2 isn't a patch on Predator 1, but I still think it's a decent sequel.
It's not bad. Honestly, though, you can see the director who would direct Judgment Night in Predator 2.
Mm-hmm. And this is the thing about this director. I think he's been harshly kind of not him specifically. When you look at his movies, they don't do too well at the box office, and I don't understand why. Because I think he makes, they're not masterpieces, but they're entertaining movies, and I just don't understand why they didn't do much better.
Well, I think he got saddled with his first few movies being sequels to better known movies, kind of sucks. And then when he makes an original film, like his name's not going to sell the film. So I guess they were banking on the stars doing it. I don't know why. I mean, I guess I read some of the reviews about it and it wasn't well received at the time, but you couldn't really argue like the performances are good. And there's some issues we'll get into when we get in the film that I noticed, but it's
Yeah.
not a bad movie, like to the point that, like, yeah, you're right. This director kind of seems like, and then after this, I don't really know what else he even did. I feel like he just kind of fell off.
Yeah, I mean, I think what was the other one I've got written down here? He done Lost in Space. Now
Oh yeah,
that was a very high profile movie that I never watched. I remember when that was released in the late 90s. It starred Matt LeBlanc from Friends. Is that his
yeah.
name?
It's got this. It came from the same studio that did, I think, a movie you do like. What the freak is it called? The shark movie, Deep Blue Sea.
Deep Blue Sea.
Yeah,
Yeah,
same studio.
yeah, and look, the thing about that was that I think I've never seen it, but I'm led to believe it's loose. It's based on a television show. It used to be on in like the 60s or something.
Hmm.
Lost in Space. The reason I didn't watch that movie was at that particular time I was like 17, 18 years of age, and I just wasn't interested because it Lost in Space. It just didn't appeal to me. Now, maybe if I had been 3 or 4 years younger, I probably would have went to watch it. So I don't know. I mean, to me, that's probably the biggest movie he's directed. And again, I don't think it done too well.
No, it didn't. None of his movies really have done anything really successful. He kind of also comes off like, as far as the movies he's directed, as like a director for hire, which is a shame.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And speaking of you're saying about the stars carrying movies, or you know what I mean, and being in his movies. Well, he originally wanted, and this is interesting. Keep in mind, like this is before Pulp Fiction, right? He originally wanted John Travolta for the lead.
That I don't get. I can't see John Travolta. I think he's still a little too old for the character. Emilio Estevez is perfect as a young father.
Yeah, I think Estevez was like 28, 27, 28 years of age or something when he made this.
All these guys feel like they're in their late 20s, early 30s.
Yeah, because when I was looking up some of the actors, like even Jeremy Pivens, like was 28 at the time. I didn't look up Cuba Gooding Jr., but they are basically in their 20s.
What a jump for Cuban Gooding Jr., who 2 years before is playing a teenager, and now he's like in his late 20s, early 30s.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he was playing a teenager in Boys in the Hood.
Yep. So
Yeah,
then in
great
this
film.
movie, he's like a young adult.
Yeah, great film. And he wanted Kevin Spacey as the main villain.
I could see that, actually.
Mhm.
Kevin Spacey definitely has the mouth very similar to Dennis Leary. And honestly, I love Dennis Leary, but a much better actor, Kevin Spacey.
I mean that's a great pick when you think about it. I think this is before Kevin Spacey was really a well-known actor.
Yeah, 2 years before because in the same year, didn't he do he did Seven and The Usual Suspects, both 95.
Yeah, and that's what really put him on the map.
Hmm.
I played the bad guy in See No Evil, Hear No Evil.
That is also true. I forgot about that.
It was like 1988 or something.
Yeah, and he's in Glengarry Glen Ross, which is like what 90? Is it? It's 91.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one, so I'm not 100% sure on that, mate.
Oh yeah, he plays an asshole. He always plays an asshole, so he would have been good in this movie.
Yeah, I think he would have been good as the villain. So he would have. So I mean, from a director's point of view, it's like we talked about in the Jaws podcast. A director generally doesn't get his first picks, but I could see that if you look at Travolta in movies like Face Off and things like that, what he done later on in the 90s when he had his comeback in the likes of Pulp Fiction, I could see him playing that main role in this movie against Kevin Spacey.
I could see, okay, if you like, yeah, raise the age of the characters, I guess I could see that. I could definitely see that working because you're right. He does kind of become that family man around that time, and then he's in movies like Michael and Phenomenon, where he's
Yeah,
like kind of playing very similar roles.
yeah. Well, up that he was like in doing movies like Look Who's Talking.
I love Look Who's Talking. I will not
Well,
accept slander towards that in
yeah.
this podcast.
Wasn't he? He was in Look Who's Talking, wasn't he?
He was in all three of them.
Yeah, I can't remember. It's so many years since I've seen them movies. But
I bought
yeah,
the Blu-ray last year to rewatch. Actually, earlier this year to rewatch it to see if it, stirred up some feelings, and it sure did.
yeah, I was doubting myself when I said Look Who's Talking because I was like, no, that's Bruce Willis, and I was like, no, he does the voice.
No, him and Kirstie Alley, and yep, Bruce Willis does the voice of Mikey.
I haven't seen them movies since I was a kid. They used to always be on television.
Oh yeah,
Um,
that's how I came to them. But they're like a big part of my childhood. I love Look Who's Talking. The first one, the sequels, eh.
yeah, I remember like getting excited about them when they were on the television when I was a kid because they were like comedy, they were strange comedies, but I don't remember much about them. Like,
They are
um,
weird.
yeah,
It's about a
but
talking baby, you know.
I know exactly that's what I'm saying. So I don't really remember much about it, but other casting choices who all turned the movies down for various roles throughout the movie. And again, this is what I say about now. Listen, I don't know if Stephen Hopkins was the one saying go and get these guys, or he had a casting person there. But you hear all these things. But apparently, Ray Liotta, Tom Cruise, Samuel L. Jackson, and Kristen Slater were offered roles in the film.
Honestly, I could see Christian Slater in the Stephen Dorff role. That makes a lot of sense.
Mhm.
You could definitely see Samuel Jackson on. I Samuel Jackson could fill the Dennis Leary role 100%.
What
And
what about the Maggie rule?
which one?
Cuba Gooding Jr.'s rule? Samuel L. Jackson?
I think he's too. I think he'd be too. I think he's too much older. I can only see him playing the villain,
At,
honestly, in my opinion.
at 93?
In '93, that's only 1 year before Jules in Pulp
Pulp
Fiction.
Fiction. What
I
age was he in Pulp Fiction? His 30s?
I think he's late 30s, early 40s. Because I think
Really?
Samuel Jackson's like in his 40s at that time.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. It might be all right, yeah.
So I cannot see him playing any of those other roles. I think he's too old. But I could see Dennis Leary, even though I think he's around their age. I feel like he comes off a little bit older,
No, that's fair enough.
in my opinion. And Ray Liotta would definitely be able to slide into the Dennis Leary role too. Yeah, how many times did he play that villain in other movies throughout the '90s, like Copland and
Yeah,
Narc? Like always plays because again, he's another one with that mouth. Just
yeah.
my opinion, though. If you
No,
see him,
listen, that's fine. I just with you because earlier on I was like Samuel L. Jackson, who would he have played? And then just when you were talking, I thought, well, probably be the Cuba Gooding Jr. character because he's the black character, and I thought maybe Samuel L. Jackson for that. That's what I was thinking. But it makes
well,
sense when you talk about the ages of the characters.
Well, one thing I actually find a little bit with this movie is like from where it's located, like being in the Cabrini projects, the fact that everyone's white is a little bit strange, I thought, for the movie. You would think there'd be more black characters just because of being the inner city in Chicago.
Hmm.
I don't know if you thought about that while watching the movie.
No,
No?
no, that obviously me not being from there, that
Ah,
probably wouldn't enter my mind.
yeah, well, if you watch Candyman, it's in the same exact area, and it's kind of about the gentrification of Chicago and how, like, the white upper class lives in like very similar apartments for more money, but yet then the black people are in like these cheap projects like that are in this movie, like, and it just
Yeah,
feels like it would be more representation of actually like what's down there. Like it kind of almost feels like that.
yeah, yeah. No, I get what you're saying. Yeah. No, listen, sorry, because I'm not from Chicago or anywhere like that, obviously. That's something which probably wouldn't be on my radar. You know what I mean? I wouldn't even think about that.
Yeah, which is, again, it's pretty unique how I live in the United States, you live in Ireland. Some we don't really bring up too much on the show, but yeah, it could different perspectives for different films.
Yeah, but the thing is about Candyman, which I'm not a big fan of Candyman. I think it's good. It's okay. I mean, I'm not a massive fan of it in a sense that you were talking today in your live about horrors. When I think about my favorite horrors, that wouldn't even enter my mind. However, when I got the Arrow Blu-ray and I was watching the special features, it was actually a British man that wrote that.
Yep, and it's directed by a British man. It's written by Clive Burton and directed by Bernard Rose, I believe.
Clive Barker.
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 I always make that mistake. Clive Burton, if I'm correct, I'm mistaken. I think he's the bassist for Metallica who died.
Right. Okay. I keep thinking you've said that. You have said that before, and I keep thinking he's thinking Tim Burton.
No, it's definitely. I'm a fucking idiot when it comes to names. Sometimes my mind will just replace names, and people get on it all the time. If you go watch my Master and Commander 4K Blu-ray review, I said Paul Battery instead of Paul Bettany every single
Right.
time.
Yeah. Well, I'm near certain he's from Liverpool. He's from he's a scout, what they call a scouser, and that Candyman is based on his on a either a novel or a graphic novel or a book that he done, and it's about the class system in Britain. So it's not really about
class
race
in the United States
or class. I mean, class, you could take class anywhere, but it's not about race as such. It's more about class. Now, I haven't read the book, but that's what the original book is based on, and it's set, and they're certain it's set in Liverpool. Yeah, so they've taken that concept and they've applied it to Chicago.
Okay, well, interesting that. So it makes sense. So I come at it from the United States point of view, from what the film is representing, which is like Cabrini Green and how it's represented here, which is definitely based on race. It's a slave and everything like that. So I have to read the original story then, and like how Liverpool is represented. So it's about class in Liverpool. So race isn't even a factor in that in Liverpool.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say race isn't a factor in Britain, but what I think is more of a factor in Britain over the decades, John, is the class system. It's like what we touched on here about the upper classes and the lower classes.
Gotcha.
And I think it's always been a thing in Britain over the years. So it has.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I haven't read the book. It's been a while since I've watched the movie. But I remember reading it, briefly about that because I was interested that this guy was actually British that wrote this, and and the Candyman, as you say, is more to do with race. And I know that a city like Liverpool is a very working class city. So I was kind of interested in that. Talk about here, like I'm from Belfast. I mean, they say that Liverpool and Belfast are very similar, because it's like cities like Manchester and Newcastle and places like that in England, very similar to Belfast because it's very working class. They're all shipping cities as well. We, in our history, we've all built ships and things like that. So we have a lot of that in common. And a lot of Irish people actually, when they moved to England, they moved to cities like Liverpool and Manchester, and that is why, tying into football, that's why a lot of Irish people support Liverpool Football Club. That's why there's a big Irish connection to Liverpool Football Club.
Okay.
Yeah. So as I say, there's more of a class thing than say a race thing.
Interesting. But I just think it's funny how we can come to the same movie with different points of view just because of where we are.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and but that's something that you brought about this movie that probably wouldn't cross my mind while watching it. But it's something that you see because you know the area.
Yeah, well, I was like looking at it, watching it last night. I'm just like, I think that this would be represented differently. But it's funny because my first thought was Candyman and what Candyman represents, and it's funny that it comes from Liverpool. Yeah, and Clive Barker, right? Because before I say Burton again, he's the guy who also wrote and directed the Hellraiser movies, the first two.
Hellraiser and also Nightbreed as well.
I love Nightbreed.
Yeah, I've only seen Nightbreed once. It was on TV one night. I wasn't as I love the first Hellraiser. I think the second one's half decent. I actually like the third one as well.
Really?
But yeah. Because I remember renting the third one. That was the first one years ago when I was a kid. I think that was the first one I ever seen. And of course, that's a completely different kind of discussion because they kind of turned the Cenobites into real. They tried to turn Pinhead into like a Freddy Krueger type of guy where he wasn't really that type of character in the first one. But I really liked the first Hellraiser. Strange movie, but Nightbreed was one that I just
I
didn't
know.
really.
I feel like people are 50-50 on it. I like Nightbreed. I like that David Cronenberg stars in that movie. It's like interesting that he's like this, like the scenes where he's going around killing are interesting. The problem is when they go to the puppets that they have or whatever, and you're just like, these feel a little out of place in this kind of movie.
Yeah, it was one I watched one night, and I don't know, it just felt a bit weird, and I've never went back to it again. And I think is there somebody who's releasing it in 4K? Did I see somewhere it's going to release it in 4K?
I have the 4K from Shout, but I think it's getting a UK release somewhere from somebody else.
Yeah, I seen it, and I didn't even get excited about it. I just kind of went, "Oh, Nightbreed," you know what I mean? So it's not one that I've wanted to revisit, you know?
Yeah, which makes sense, and I can understand that.
Yeah,
It's not a beloved classic.
yeah. So back to Judgment Night. So as you say, filmed in Chicago, Illinois, and this was distributed by Universal Pictures.
Which is interesting too. A movie got a lot of money behind it.
Mm-hmm. So well, if we go into the movie, mate, so it's basically release date was the 15th of October, 1993.
Yeah, right around your birthday, actually, right?
Yes, 2 days before my 12th birthday.
Oh, happy birthday to David.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I suppose this is a good time to get into the movie, and will we?
Yeah, why not? Let's jump right into it.
Okay, so I'm doing this old school because I was just for anybody who's watched, I was taking notes on my computer, but I didn't get timed to jot them down, so we're doing it old school on the notepad. And we'll see if we can get through this.
Yeah, I think this is going to be an interesting one. I think, like I said at the beginning, this is only the second time I saw the movie, so I'm like, I don't have it like built into my memory completely yet, so I'm trying.
No, and this is.
I think that we could have some fun with this one because I don't think it's like a world-renowned classic, like like say The Godfather.
No, definitely not, and that's why we can be loose with it. We can have fun with it. It's not. It's not. I think it may have built up maybe a small cult following somewhere. I'm sure. I think every movie has a cult following. To be honest with you, there's
Oh
always
yeah,
somebody that likes a movie that nobody else likes, right? And I think that, and I do think there's certain people that might, say the movie's not amazing, but it's worth a watch. And and like me, I enjoy the movie. I'm happy to have it in my Blu-ray collection, and I will revisit it now and again. But as I say, I've only watched it when I got that Blu-ray, John. I think when I watched it for the pod the other night, that may only be the second or third time I've watched it since the 90s, since when I first seen it, like in the mid 90s. So it's only 2 or 3 times I've watched it in the last 30 years recently.
Well, hey, it's a good movie to catch. I'll be watching this more often than not. Like it'll go into the rotation, maybe like every 2 or 3 year kind of film. Not one I'll watch every year, but every couple of years, this is a good, interesting, fun movie because it moves along at a good pace and it's very entertaining.
Yes, it is very entertaining. It's one you can just switch your brain off. And as I say, I love how the tone shifts. But we start with that 90s hip hop song. Now I had to look that up. Wasn't familiar with it. I'm only know it in the movie. And it's called Fallen, and it's by Teenage Fan Club and De La Soul. Never heard of them?
Paid all my dues, so what's gone's dead? Let me use my forehead. Easy, pack it up, man. Let me.
I know of De La Soul, but yeah, there's a couple. The soundtrack to this movie, it seems like they were promoting it at the time as from a bunch of different groups, and one song in here early on is from a band called, I believe, Arrested Development, and I know their song Tennessee.
Right. Okay. Well, I do like this song at the start of the movie. It's very 90s.
Oh my god. Yeah. I think that might have been used in Space Jam. I could be wrong on that.
Right. Okay. Well, I actually put the soundtrack on to try and find this song, and like groups like Cypress Hill and all, they actually had a proper soundtrack for this movie. It was like 10 or 11 tracks, 12 tracks, and it was like Cypress Hill and all was on it. That type of music from that time.
100%. I mean, they got Everlast in the movie, who's big at the time. So it's like if it was a big hip hop artist of the time. So it feels like they had a certain demographic they were trying to reach, like the modern hip hop of the time.
I get a funny feeling that Emilio Estevez had a lot of pull in getting some of these guys into this movie.
Oh, that makes sense too. It
Yeah.
really does feel. I'm telling you, like when you watch the movie, you see those actors and the musical artists. It's like there's a lot of people who were very much into pop culture of 1993.
Yeah, I'm one of the people that they got. And I originally thought it was Estevez, but it could have been Estevez and Hopkins, was Alan Silvestri to do
Yeah,
the score.
which is I know a personal favorite of yours.
Definitely. So you had messaged me last night and said, this score is amazing. We'll have to talk about this. So I've just jotted his name down because you see his name come up during the credits at the very start of the movie. And he's one of my favorites. He done the Back to the Future trilogy, but he also done Predator, and he done Predator 2, which Stephen Hopkins directed,
Mhm.
and he also done Young Guns 2, which Emilio Estevez starred in.
Yep. So it must be some sort of relationship there that they're able to all get together. And it's a score that is very good. It just feels very much of the 1990s, like very 1990s score. The whole film has that like early 90s tone to it.
One thing about Alan Silvestri, like we done a top 5 scores, and I made a touched on this because I put Back to the Future 3 as my number 5, I think, is that like John Williams, like Hans Zimmer, like Jerry Goldsmith, Danny Elfman, they have a signature. And when I hear an Alan Silvestri soundtrack, but without knowing it's him, I right away going, that's Alan Silvestri, because there's certain things he does. And I feel as if, and I've jotted it down in my notes, there's cues and music in this which reminds me of Young Guns, Back to the Future, Predator, especially Predator 2 as well, which I think could be a better score than Predator 1.
Ooh, that's a you know what? You do like the sequels for some of Alice Silvestri scores. I've noticed that with you.
Yeah, well, he introduces like these kind of drums, like these kind of jungle drums for Predator 2, which I really like the sound of, which aren't really present in the original Predator.
That is true. I mean, I got to go back and listen to the Predator. I got to go back and rewatch Predator 2. It's been a very long time. It's been to be fair to it.
Yeah, it's a worthy sequel. It's not, it's not amazing. It's worthy. But of course, we see that opening scene there, John, and we see all the leaves falling from the trees, which is great. It's a nice early autumn, early fall movie.
It worked out perfectly for Estevez September, honestly, because it does feel like a September film.
Yeah, and I didn't. Well, maybe I did kind of pick it because of that, but it was more for Estefes. So when I seen that at the start, I was like, oh, this is perfect timing. And I think you mentioned in the pre-production, you can see this lovely neighborhood that this character that we soon meet, who is Francis.
You know what I love about this is that his name is Frank and his brother's name is John. I have a brother named Frank too.
Oh, there you go, Ed.
Yeah.
Uh,
Very common Irish names.
Yeah, I know a few Francis's, and it's really funny because like the Lost Boys, which is like one of my daughter's favorite films. It's like the good guy, and it's called Michael. And the one of the lead head vampires is called David, and I have a brother called Michael.
Yeah, look at that. Maybe that's why your daughter subconsciously likes it so much.
Yeah, good and evil. I'm the bad guy. My brother's the good guy.
He's the sweeter one. I don't believe that.
He's probably watching too. He knows. So we see Francis Howard Watt. He comes out, and we see his wife sitting on the porch, and she's got this baby, and he comes out, and he's kind of like he's like, come on, he's like a few hours, I deserve this, I haven't been out of the house in 3 months.
I know, she lays the guilt trap. It's about the same amount of time I haven't been out of the house.
Yeah, exactly. And I thought his wife's called Linda, I thought she looked a lot like Neve Campbell.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out like if I knew her from somewhere else, and I looked her up and like not really into much. So it's like, yeah, she kind of she just has like a familiar look.
It could be just that 90s look that was just coming in at that time.
That's
you know,
true.
with the hair, with the type of haircut and the type of makeup, and then obviously Scream's like 3 or 4 years later, 3 years later, 2, 3 years later, if you're filming, 85, 86. So it could be just the look that was coming in.
That's true. That's very much. It just if she felt more familiar than she actually was, and I guess it would make sense not to have her in a big role because she's only in this scene.
She's only at the start, and you need this. I think that plays him getting home, as you mentioned, him getting home to his family, and Frank making this whole kind of plea that that he doesn't want any trouble, and he just wants to get home in one piece to his wife and his baby. So it's important that you actually see them rather than it just be a photograph or a passing, a mention. So you can relate to that. You can see what he has to get home to.
Yeah, you can see what his values are, what's like important to him, and they make sure to point out that he's the only one with a wife and kid.
That's right, because you see Cuba Gooding Jr. kind of eyeing up this girl and talking up this girl, and she makes a comment about, I can't remember the comment she makes, but implying that he's gonna be playing away, and he says nobody's taking dates. It's a bunch of guys going to a boxing match.
Yeah, I think she said like, he's got his girlfriend lined up for tonight.
Yeah, is that what it is? Right, okay,
Yeah.
that's what she says. I couldn't remember, mate. I didn't write that one down, but yeah, and but as I say, I've just made a wee note here, as well. Sorry, he says my friends are grown-ups, and the next thing was Ray pulls up in an RV with a tannoy going, and she says, "There's one of your grown-ups now."
Yeah, because he has to pull up like an idiot in this big Winnebago on the microphone.
Yeah, exactly, and I just put a note here, just saying here, I love this. Just a bunch of guys getting together for a bit of crack, a bit of fun. Do you know what I mean? Just having a bit of adventure, getting away from the wife and the kids, and just and work and life, and just having a bit of crack.
Yeah, I mean, as a married man myself, not somebody with a kid, but you have a kid, like, you need those days away where you just go hang out with the boys and, turn the brain off and drink a little
Yeah.
bit and have a good time. It's nothing wrong with that. Obviously, if you're married, the wife will put a guilt trip on. She's in the other room. She can hear me, and I want her to.
Well, I don't know. Depending which way you look at it, I don't have that problem, John. I have other people I'm accountable to, and but no, I think we can relate to that. It's just about forgetting about your everyday troubles, your everyday life, and just letting the hair down for a few hours. And that's all these guys are looking to do. And I think any man watching this movie, even women watching the movie, because they get their nights out too, I'm sure, with their lady friends, and they can relate to that,
Yeah,
and I love that.
Let their hair down a little bit. Something you haven't been able to do in like 15 years.
Yeah, something you took for granted. Something you took for granted. I must laugh at just 15 years, but something you took for granted when you were young.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's why he said, "I don't get out. I haven't been out in 3 months." It's like an eternity for him.
Yeah, he misses that. And like they keep bringing up, we never see it because, again, the way the film's constructed, it's just one night and there's no flashbacks or anything. But they keep bringing up like the guy he used to be. But we understand why he's changed because we see it right here in the beginning, like what his priorities are now.
Yeah. That was going to be my opening line, but I couldn't think what to build it up to. I was going to say, "You've changed, man. What the hell's happened to you, man?"
I mean, I've had people say to me because of like my age down from when I was younger that I've changed, and I'm like, I've turned into a little bit of a hermit. I used to like going out and seeing people, but I don't really like going out much anymore. I'd rather just be home.
Yeah. I'm like that too. I've got that feeling too. It's not that. It's been. I had this realization. I was at a works barbecue before COVID hit, the summer before COVID hit, and went down, and it was like it was communal, right? It was a bar, and it was communal, and you got a ticket, so you got a burger and a free drink on the company. And once that was over, we went into the bar, and after a few beers later, apart from the work colleagues, I looked around the bar, and it was all just like young people in their early 20s, and here's me in my late 30s, and I just had this realization that, like Donnie Glover says, and it's referenced at the end of this movie, I'm too old for this shit. I looked around and I just went, I'm too old to be here. and I finished my drink and got a taxi home. Actually, I got a taxi at my brother's house, and I had a drink in his house instead. But the point being is that there comes that time when that realization is that, once you see like young people coming up and coming into the bars, that you realize that, maybe I'm just a wee bit too old to be starting here mingling.
Well, to quote another Jeremy Piven line from a PCU, which is a movie he's in, don't be that guy. No, no one wants to be that like old guy at like the bar around all young people. Like you stand out a little bit. So I get what you're saying.
Yeah, you get the eyes on you.
Yeah, like you're out of place here, and you're like, and you're at least you're self-aware enough to know, like, I know why.
Even after 8 beers, I realized that.
You had a moment of clarity that day.
I did. I had a moment of clarity just to get the hell out of there. Left my work colleagues and left. Didn't even say goodbye.
So you did what we like to call here in the States. I don't know if they call it there, an Irish goodbye.
What happened to call that?
Yeah, it's called an Irish goodbye here in the United States. My dad's the king of it. Like literally, he will just leave.
He just disappear. Yeah, well, that's what I did that night. I just was like, walked straight out and got a taxi. And but I love the banter here. But you see, come back and forth between these guys here as they go into the RV, and and you can tell. Group of friends that have known each other for years, and they can take a joke and they know their limits, and and they know they're only messing about. Like, for example, what he says about, oh, your wife hates me, and he's like, that's not true. I've been with I've been married that woman 2 years, and he says about, and Cuba Gooding Jr. says about, oh, what about your birthday? And he says, yeah, she does hate you. We don't need to know what happened there, but it's just banter. It's showing you how good friends they are. And then even this line here, which I think is close to the close, a bit close for comfort, but it's Ray, played by Jeremy Piven, says to Frank's wife Linda, "Let me get rid of these bumps. I'll be right back to get on you."
That is a very funny line that I think we've all kind of like, kid around with our buddies' wives about a little bit.
Yeah. So they laugh. So they know.
You can tell they're all really close. Yeah, you can tell that they're a close group of friends, and I think we all have had close groups of friends where you could like mess around and like poke like that. Like might seem like a little bit too far, but unless you're close to this group, it makes sense.
Yeah, and they know he's not serious. She knows he's not serious, so there's no harm done. It's only a bit of a laugh. But the next thing was to talk about this guy Addy, and Frank says Addy's cancelled on us, and Frank's invited his brother John, and he pulls up. So and of course, there's a bit of friction between these two brothers. They mentioned about the history that World War III whenever they're together.
Yeah, this is very relatable. Like I told you, I had a brother Frank. My name's John, but my brother Ryan, who's much closer in age to me. This felt very relatable. Like until we got older, me and my brother, like we were like oil and vinegar, or whatever the hell the saying is, water and vinegar. I don't know. But we shared a room for a long time, and we did not get along for most of it.
Yeah, well, I think that's like most families. There's always ones you get on with more than others, isn't there?
Yeah, and then it's like always the ones closest to you. But when you get older now, like I love my brother Ryan. It doesn't, now that we don't see each other as much, it's the best thing for the relationship.
Yeah, you can have conflict with family, but it doesn't mean you don't love them.
Yeah, exactly. We were kids. Like now as adults, it's different.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And so anyway, so they end up taking off. Song starts again. And they end up stuck in traffic. And they're watching the boxing on a wee television. I had to laugh at the sound effects of this boxing fight on the television.
Oh my god!
So they're like some bit of a computer game.
I know they're doing their best, I guess. I mean, the old technology is funny too, and the inside of this, like this Winnebago is beautiful, and I love his story. How he explains how he was able to get it, like basically sold the guy a lie.
Yeah, he's borrowed it so he can kind of showcase it, so he can sell the guy who he borrowed it off. He can sell more of these RVs.
Yeah, he's like, I got some potential clients for you. It's like, oh yeah, no, if you can get me 5 for a 1 kind of deal, that's perfect. He has no intention of buying it.
No intention at all. He just wants to bring it to this fight and then bring it back the next day. And but of course, Mike says we're gonna miss the event, and I missed a part out here just about my notes here, mate. I just love that when the music's playing about the high shots. No, I just love high driving shots of
So
like
do I. Very simple, where you can hear them talking to each other without actually being in the vehicle with them.
yeah, especially at night where all the lights and all are on. You just see like high driving shots. It's amazing.
Yeah, I didn't bring it up at the beginning, but I do like that, this had to go, a lot of planning had to go into this to make sure that the whole beginning of the movie has that, like, in the magic hour kind of look, because the sun's setting, because the whole movie takes place at night, but we get a little bit of time before that, like 5, 6 o'clock at night. I love that.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Yeah, yes. So anyway, so they end up they're trying to edge over on the highway, and they end up fighting with a guy out in the road. So we can see here how much of a hothead John is, because he's escalating this. Ray's an instigator as well, which we find out, which doesn't help matters. But we kind of see the likes of like Frank hanging in the background, concerned about trying to diffuse the situation. He doesn't want any bother. He doesn't want to get into any issues with anybody.
Yeah, we can see that, like, he's the most even keeled out of everybody in this group. Like, his brother is a hothead, Ray's kind of a hothead, and then you got Jeremy Piven's well, who is Ray? You got him like just like all over the place, like kind of losing it in little bits as the night's going on.
Yeah, he's very bullish. Listen, I love his character in this movie.
Very well done.
It is well done, but he's a very rounded character. I really like him, but he's an asshole.
Yeah, he's not somebody I would personally want to be friends with. Like, he's always the one I'm asking, like, why do these other guys like kind of like this guy? But it's like you don't really like see the flaws in him until like things start going wrong. At first, he's kind of like he seems like a nice, funny guy like the rest of them, but then like as things start going on, he kind of like seems like very aggressive even towards his friends, as we see.
But the thing is that he's always like he's billed as this salesman, negotiator type of guy, and he's always trying to spin it that he's doing it for the good of other people, like most bullshitters. But
Yeah.
everything he does is more just to benefit himself when you think about it.
I mean, yeah, every decision he makes is always for the benefit of him. No one's above him, which is sad because even like with his friends, he'll sell them down the river for himself. I truly feel like.
Yeah, there's a selfishness there about him.
Whereas I don't think Frank, even like when like even when he like is totally against what one of his friends is doing, he'll still, that's my friend. I don't know if Ray would do that.
Yeah, no, he wouldn't, and I think he shows that as the movie goes on, and we can get into that. But this all ties into them. Well, first of all, when they get into the row on the actual highway, and it's in the end it's Cuba Gooding Jr. that actually twists his arm, so you can see these guys aren't really soft either.
No.
they're not as nasty or as villainous as the guys we're going to meet later. But these guys, they're not soft, they can kind of handle themselves.
We could see Ray's right here, like that guy who's got that mindset of still like, he peaked in high school kind of guy.
Yeah. And then of course then you see that first sign of Cuba Gooding Jr. saying to John, in the old days, your brother would have not punched that guy out. And they have that argument, and because he's trying to talk him down, Frank is saying to him, like, you don't know what maniac has a gun.
Yeah, exactly. You don't, and which is it's a good point, especially in the modern world. Like I always think about that. Like, we all get a little bit of road rage sometimes if you're driving, and it's not smart. You don't know who the guy is in the other car. Like, could be a psycho with a gun.
Yeah, with a gun, with a knife, with anything like that, John. Exactly. Yeah. I think I suppose we're all kind of guilty of that too. Sometimes losing the head.
I'd be guilty of it.
Yeah, exactly. And that, there's a message there, and he's right. He's 100% right. But he tells him that you're not my father. And I love how Cuba Gooding Jr. says to him, or Mike as he's called, says to him, he's right about one thing. He says, "Why?" He says, "You're not his father."
Yeah, it was a funny line.
Yeah, but I like the honesty between these two friends. They take the alternative highway. Now, this ties what we're saying about Ray. This is all his fault. This whole nonsense that they get into is all his fault. But you see when they're driving through this really bad neighborhood, they're all drinking. They're drinking Budweiser, and Ray is drink driving as well. And that RV is lit up like a Christmas tree. Just said, it's just to attract everything. Here we are. Come to us.
Yeah, he's a moron. Like, and especially since you really like, that's a big thing to drive. Maybe drive that sober, start drinking when you get to the fight.
Yeah, yeah, I know, but I suppose because they've been stuck in there for so long, they've just started. Maybe they've started drinking. Um, and of course, Ray doesn't know where the fuck he's going, but
No.
he's pretending he does.
Yeah, he puts on the pomps and circumstances of the whole thing and acts like he's smarter than everyone.
Yeah, yeah. And this is the part, John, where the bums pretend to pull out a gun, and Ray tries to pull a gun out of the drawer in the RV.
Yeah, which is like, why would he have that on him? Like, was he intending on something like this happening?
Yeah. Again, I don't know why does it. Why does he have a gun with him?
Yeah, I don't understand exactly why he brought it with him. Like, what was the possibility of like something like if you're in your mind, all you're doing is going to the fight. Like, were you even like you wouldn't have been intending to be down in this neighborhood? You were just trying to get back to the highway.
And that's what Frank says. He says, "Just get us back on the expressway." And John says the paraphrase, Frank. He says them, "You're right. You never know what maniac is going to pull a gun out on you." And I love how Ray says them. The only maniac I know is you. But he says them, and this is the thing that dates this movie as well, John. Where somebody says, "We need a map."
Yeah, there's a couple things right here in it, like when we see the cell phone and everything. 1993 isms.
Yeah, yeah. Whereas now, one of the first jobs I ever done was working with maps all day.
Really?
Yeah,
Now you've
and
been replaced.
big time. And looking back on that now, I was the late 90s, but that went into the early 2000s. And like looking back on that now, where you could walk into a petrol station or a gas station, or as you guys call it over there, and be able to buy a map. You can't do that anymore.
No, because if you try and ask the guy at the counter for a map, he's gonna look at you like you're an idiot because he's gonna be like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Yeah. And we used to travel about the district. I used to work for a telecom contractor for telecom company, and then it was a gas company. So we'd be out in the district all the time. So we worked with maps every day. And if you were out and about, it might be an area that you weren't too familiar with, but you had your map to find the street. And like, I just feel as if that's a bygone era now. So when somebody says we need a map, right away that just dates this movie.
Yeah, pretty much the whole mystery of the movie would be completely solved because they would be following a GPS to where they were going.
Yeah, they could check their phones, but of course they could say, "Oh, no signal," which you can, which just happens in this movie, and you can get around that. But as they're driving along, because Ray's too busy trying to find the map, plus he's been drinking, he hits somebody or hits something. When they came out of the RV, they find an injured man on the road, and I love how Ray's kind of like, they're scam artists. This happens all the time.
He's not 100% wrong. There are people who are trying to fraudulently get money from the insurance companies and will throw themselves in front of a car. It happens. But he jumped right to that conclusion just because of the area they're in.
Yeah. That's 100%. He's got it. He's got his prejudices
right at the forefront. Like he's pushing like exactly an agenda right from the time they got there because he knows where they are. And he's like, well, that's obviously what they're doing. Of course, he's just trying to cover up for the guilt that he's driving drunk.
Yep, 100%. You read my mind there, because they say we've got a hurt or we've hit something. Call 911, and he lies about his phone.
Yeah, which by the way, you notice him drink more right there because he's so nervous.
Yeah, like that's the last thing. Like, he's like, call 911. He takes a big drink. He'd be sitting thinking, "Fuck, I can't take any more of that." But when they go to bring the injured man into the RV, you see him like clacking all the bottles up, putting them in a bag, and when he opens the door, let them in, he throws the bag away.
Yeah.
The broken bottle, or with the bottles, he had them smashing.
Yeah, he's an asshole.
Yeah, but he's kind of doing the right thing, Nick, because if you're
get
rid of that evidence.
Yeah, well, my big question throughout the entire film is, where are the cops?
Yeah, well, they see one here very soon, but they bring this guy onto the RV and they realize he's been shot. And like, I have to say, like Jeremy Piven, he has the best lines in this film.
He does.
I would love the movie because he's a comedian. Like, did he improvise a lot of this on set?
Yeah, that's one thing. There's not a lot of behind the scenes and making of this movie, so you don't really know. Like, I imagine a lot of people had some like Jerry. If you were to tell me that what's his name, Dennis Leary, was making up a lot of his lines, I would truly believe that.
Yeah, because they say he says when he sees the money, he says he's a thief and the cops have probably shot him.
Yeah, that's what it is. Hey, buddy, how'd you get shot? Or he's like, hey, buddy, who shot you?
Yeah, that's right. Even and then he says, "I can't even hear myself think." He starts freaking out. So he
Yeah.
does. But that's when they ask him to chill, and he says, "I've had a lot to drink." That's when he realizes, oh shit, like if he gets done maybe for drink driving, maybe that's his whole career and all down the tubes.
Yeah,
So
he's
he's a lot to kind of worry about.
and a Winnebago that's not his. Like, so he's probably freaking out and losing his mind right now.
Yeah, what he is, and to be, from his point of view, he's probably thinking, "I'm going to lose all this." From his point of view, for this
Yeah, for
bum,
a
this
bum
thug.
who got shot, like who nothing to do with me.
But again, that all ties into his prejudice and
Yeah,
selfishness.
exactly. He's willing
So,
to there's an injured man, and that's why Frank's like the whole time, like, no, this guy got shot. We got to help him.
yeah, his whole outlook on society.
Yeah, very different than Ray's.
Yeah, even though what he is doing is very immoral.
That is true too.
And but I like but Frank then takes the RV to chase after the cops. See, there's the cops. You hear the siren, and he starts looking for them. He can't find them, but then he's rammed. And I just wrote a wee note here. This night's just starting to get worse.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the inevitable is gonna happen.
Yeah, and this is where Ray starts losing it. He says because the RV's triced. He's looking at the Smouse TV and he's going, "Oh, this is now mine." And he says, "We're stuck in this piece of shit that I own now."
That I own now. He throws the chair away.
And the RV's stuck and the engine's dead. As I say, the guy that shot says, "You guys don't know what you're messing with."
Yeah, he doesn't, and they don't. They just it makes you think, like, should they have left them there, because their whole night probably wouldn't have gone this way if they would have.
Like I said about being immoral, like, I mean, I don't know if I was in this situation, I think I wouldn't leave the guy to lie and die on the street.
See, I couldn't do that either. That's the thing. It's like, in hindsight, though, you're like, this guy was, involved in some shady shit. He was a lieutenant for him, wasn't he?
Yeah, as we found out, I think he was a drug dealer, wasn't he?
Yeah, he worked for him. He stole from him. He stole from him. He's like, he's not wrong, Dennis Leary, in that sense. Like, if nothing had happened, like if they hadn't stumbled upon him, like the same outcome would have happened.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. They're digging holes. I don't know. I think the biggest problem here is that panic set in. Panic set in. I see here how much kind of John is very empathetic. I put down in my notes here. I don't understand why he cares so much about this guy he's never met. But suppose you can see he's got a softer side to him. He's not this hard ass he tries to project. And that's where the friction comes from, because he's trying to act tough, trying to prove himself in front of people. And he's not that guy. And if he was just himself, then people might accept him more. But because he's putting on this front, he's rubbing up against the people that care about him. And you know what I mean? The likes of his brother, the likes of his brother's friends, who, will treat him with respect because he's their friend's brother, but because he's putting on this hard front, right? So he's very empathetic towards this guy. So he really wants to help him. But then you have Ray's panicking, and then Frank panics to chase after the police, and that's what gets them rammed. And that's what gets the RV stuck. And then that is where they're really in a pickle here. Because Frank looks out the sun visor because they can't get out of it. And the gang smash the back window. And they take this guy who's been shot. And we see Peter Green.
Yeah, isn't that great? I love seeing Peter Green pop up. I mean, at this time, he was just popping up in everything. This is the year before he's in The Mask and Pulp Fiction, too.
Yeah, and that's the guy, I'm sure you guessed, I totally forgot was in this movie.
Yeah, I totally forgot he was in the movie too. So that was one that surprised me. And I'm like, I just watched this last year. How did I forget that he's in this movie? But then I also Everlast is in the movie, which is crazy to me.
Yeah, and he's called Sykes, and I heard the voice before seeing the face. And I was like, I knew as soon as I heard the voice, that's him.
Yeah. Dorian.
Hello, Dorian.
Imagine that guy popped up behind him and said,
And then he says, "There's always time."
"One last kiss."
And anyway, he says, "Sit tight, and nobody will get hurt." You know, Plays a great bad guy. I like him. He's good.
He can never play a good guy. Never.
No, he's a great bad guy. And then Dennis Leary appears on the scene, and he is Fallon. And so this guy, as I mentioned, was stealing drugs. And I have no put notes here as well. I don't understand why the good guys, good group, are so bothered about getting involved.
Yeah, I don't know. At this point, I'm out because it's like, it looks like it's a little bit of an in-out situation that the boss is trying to handle in front of his men. Doesn't really involve us. We can get out of here now, or at least try, because this could go sideways for us. Because he brings up pretty quick that there has to be no witnesses. So
yeah, and this is where I agree with Ray. This is where I'm like, yes, 100%. Fuck all do us. Just that's you know, that's not what's going to happen here. But yeah. They shoot him dead, and this is a wee bit cheesy though. All their faces when they see him get shot, their reactions, they're all,
I know, like they can't believe what they just saw.
yeah. And the wee John, the wee brother's kind of like, he's like shouting out the window, no, as if it's like his bloody best mate's just been shot. They only met the guy 30 seconds earlier, and you see, is it Ray just kind of like puts the head down like, I should have helped the guy. I should have treated him better.
Now I feel so bad about it.
Yeah. And of course, Fallon says rule number 2, no witnesses. And Frank lights up the RV and they escape, and it explodes.
Yep. Which is definitely going to cause a problem for him if he had, not to spoil what happens in the future to him, but he doesn't have to worry about it. Let's put it that way.
No, he doesn't. But I like how Frank says to him, "Sorry, man, that's not exactly what I had in mind." And Ray says to him, "Thanks. That's not what that's what I'll tell the dealer."
Yeah, I'll make sure to bring that up to him when I bring the car back tomorrow.
Yeah. Who's gonna believe that story? But it's like the dog ate my homework, you know.
Yeah, so listen, let me just tell you what happened. I know I said I'd bring it back and sell you some more, but you'll never believe it.
You'll never believe what happened. And they run, and here's the Alan Silvestri score. It's got that Predator 2 vibe.
Well, the Predator 2 is like really most known for taking place in the city, and they're in the inner city.
Look, see, as much as I love that Predator 2 score, some of those kind of drums he uses doesn't make sense because it is a city.
Good point.
Do you know what I mean? But it's still great. I love it listening to it. Yeah. So younger brother, as I said, John, he's really upset. Only met this guy 3 minutes earlier, and he's saying, "Why'd they have to do it? They killed him, Frank."
I know he can't understand, which doesn't make sense. I think I even said out loud to Faith while I was watching it, I know why he killed him. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, but he doesn't. He wants to be, Mother Teresa. And so we go to this next great set piece. This is a great scene, John. I really like this scene. I really love the suspense in this scene. I think Stephen Hopkins does a great job. They hide in an old abandoned train, containers type thing.
Yeah, like a storage container.
Yeah, and the bad guys, they track them down to outside the train, which is full of homeless people, and they end up blackmailing them.
Yeah, which I don't blame. A great line in here, by the way, which illustrates a lot about the movie itself, because these guys are at the bottom, and he's like, go to hell. When he tells him, he's like, already there, man. Which I understand that. Like, this is where I live. Like, it can't get worse, so I have nothing to lose here.
Yeah, which is why they basically, one of them actually says, they try to play reverse psychology on them, kind of, by saying, "Oh, well, if you tell them we're here, they'll kill you too." And he's like, maybe not. Maybe there's something in it for us. Maybe you'll reward us.
Yeah, for turning you guys in because they're looking for you, not for
Yeah.
us.
And that ties into the theme of the movie that you said, because these guys, you see, I was thinking about that. I was like, logically, they're probably thinking, if we go to the police as homeless people, as the dregs of society, and say, we seen a murder, the cops don't give a shit. But if four middle class white guys go to the cops and say, we seen a murder, the cops will take you serious.
Yep, exactly, because of who's coming in. They're going to ignore the homeless people. The homeless people literally
Yeah.
are seen as, like you just said, the bottom of society. They're no one's, so they just have nothing to lose. And obviously, he realizes that because he turns everything over immediately.
Yeah, so that's the way the homeless people are perceived. Probably thinking about it, it's like nobody gives a shit about us. We can go and tell them 10 murders are happening here. They don't care. That So, and these bad guys, they know that too. They're probably thinking, oh, they're just like us. They're just down in their luck. The difference is we steal for a living. And one note that I've actually made here about when they start handing the gear over, John, is that just as well Ray isn't wearing a shirt his daughter gave him for Father's Day. Because he wasn't handing that over.
But after our conversation in Heat, I understand with Jeremy Piven and his shirt.
Yeah,
but this shirt makes a little bit more sense than a dress shirt that you could buy at any store, anywhere, that'll look exactly the same.
But he wants his watch.
That's the line where I'm already he tells him go to hell. He's like, I'm already there, man. Like, that's why he turns it off. It's like he gets it, at least Ray, Ray's self-aware enough. I think, he's a smart guy. He's not going to argue with the guy about it. He's like, he's right. Like, this guy he's got nothing to lose. Like, I'm the one in a vulnerable position here.
Yeah, he's a savvy guy. He's one thing about him, he's not stupid. He's everything, like every decision he makes and every reaction in this movie is done from a place of selfishness or fear, or try to get himself out of the situation. But he's smart. It's not like, I feel as if the John, the younger brother, he's a bit naive, and I think he's probably even smarter than Estefez's character. Estefez is very streetways, but he's the type of guy that just wants to keep his mouth shut and try and get out of the situation or try and get back. Whereas, Ray's always thinking ahead, I think.
Yeah, he is. He's always he's usually one step ahead. Yeah.
And this one goon that comes up that's scraping the side, one of the goons with the beanie hat and the beard, the goatee.
Yeah, that's Everlast.
Is that Everlast? Because he reminds me of. I'm not too familiar with him because I know you've already mentioned him. He's a rapper. I'm not too familiar with him, but he reminds me of. No, he reminds me of the Edge from U2.
He does look like the Edge. That is a very good point. But I'm surprised you actually never heard it. You've definitely heard the song that he's most famous for, "Jump Around."
Just jump around, jump around, jump around.
Which is he's very famous for that. And like in the music videos, they would always have the Irish flag in them because they're like from Boston.
Oh, sorry, he's part of House of Pain.
Yes, he's the lead singer.
Right. Okay, sorry. I know House of Pain, but I'm not that familiar with them. Yeah, I know they're an Irish or Irish American rap group.
Yeah, they're from Boston, I believe. But like he broke out after that, after House of Pain, and became just Everlast and sung you really don't know what it's like to have the blues.
You really might know what it's like.
I don't know if you ever heard that song.
Okay. Not that version.
Not the one I'm singing, right? Yeah, it's probably hard to sell it. But he literally went on from singing in a rap group to becoming like a bluesy kind of singer and having this whole career resurgence. So it's funny.
Yeah. Is that odd then that I thought he looked like the Edge from U2?
No, because he does look like the Edge. The goatee, he does. I agree with you on that.
But the fact that he's like Irish American.
Yeah, well, it all kind of makes sense.
Yeah, and then I started thinking, do you think the bad guys were all made to look up like U2? Because Peter Green gives me like Bono vibes.
I mean, Dennis Leary is 100% an Irish American too. Like,
with a name like Leary, yeah.
He's also from Boston, in a very Irish area.
he could be the Adam Clayton of the group.
I would say he is. I mean, he's got some very loyal subjects. They make that very clear why they hang around with him.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. Note I made here, John. Like, this is like a plot device in the whole movie. But why does Frank give the homeless person his whole wallet with his wife's photograph and all of it? Why didn't he take the money out and go, "Don't give me the wallet. I want the wallet back"?
Yeah, I don't understand that decision either. I don't think he was thinking clearly on that.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I just don't know if it was like he went to hand it. I can't remember now whether or not they were distracted and they ended up taking the whole wallet. But like, I'm sure the homeless guys don't want the bloody wallet. And but Sykes says outside it's possible they didn't stop here. They just took right off. But that's when one of the homeless men starts kicking off. He wants Meg's jacket. "I was a college graduate, man. What you doing coming around here wearing that jacket?"
I love that. I mean, and he's very proud of that jacket.
Yeah, he says, "I had great hands, man."
Which again, like I was saying, like this guy living in the past, like he hasn't, like that's where he peaked, and not in high school, but I guess in college, like he could have been something. He could have been a contender.
Could have been a good, exactly. But that's a sad state of affairs because you see so many
Well, it
people.
gets worse later, like a line he delivers to Frank that like really puts it into context.
Yeah, but even the homeless guy.
Oh yeah, well, that's a terrible state of living.
Do you know what I mean? The fact that these people, like he's saying that that was me, and it makes it, there's a story there. It's like you think to yourself, well,
That's
how
true.
did this guy end up there? He could have been a big football star, his American football star.
Yeah, it sounds like a wide receiver.
Yeah, and what happened that he ended up homeless? You know what I mean? There's a story there.
Well, I always think of it like this: like nobody ever chose. I'm pretty sure nobody chooses to be homeless. That's like how we
No.
kind of reflect society. It's like we look at them as the worst of humanity, but it's like I don't think that's like was their goal to be like so disgusted by everybody else. Like what went wrong? You're right. There's a story there.
There's a story. Listen, my opinion, as you say, 100% right. Nobody chooses to be homeless, I don't think. And there's always a reason behind it, whether it's addiction. Usually it is addiction, isn't it? More than anything.
That's usually the driving force. Like what's preventing you from trying to make money to at least go live somewhere else than in the street?
Yeah, and it's a sad situation, and one of my biggest fears.
It's always been a fear of mine too, because it's like, what exactly? Because again, we don't see the in between that got them there. So it makes you think, can it happen to me?
It could happen to anyone, John. They say you're only 3 pay packets away from being out in the street.
Yeah, I know. That's something like most people live paycheck to paycheck. That's the common thing. And so one horrible thing going wrong could lead to that.
They say that you should have at least 6 months, 6 months of income saved in a savings account. At least 6 months. But the problem is people can't save in this day and age because of the price of things. That's your catch-22.
They box us in.
Unfortunately, mate. So I just thought to myself here, why didn't they exchange clothes with the homeless people?
I didn't even think of that. That's probably the problem. They didn't think of that.
Didn't think of it. Didn't have enough time. But they run, and Fallon shoots, and he does shoot one of the homeless people dead.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah, but when he gets up to him, he's wearing Meg's jacket. But it's not the guy that wanted the jacket. It's somebody else, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. I don't understand that. That wasn't the guy wearing the jacket. Will you hand it over real quick?
Yeah, it looks more like Cuba Gooding Jr., the guy who was wearing the jacket. And it's because of that, because they wanted you to think he shot Meg.
Cuba Gooding Jr., yeah. It's maybe that's the only reason that they even made this decision was for the movie.
Yeah. And he sees Frank's wallet and he says, "Welcome to the neighborhood, boys."
I love that line.
Yeah. Now, another wee note I've made here. Do people still carry pictures in their wallets anymore?
Definitely not. Not with smartphones. No one ever has pictures in their wallet anymore.
No, people always used to do that. Have a picture of, say, their wife or their girlfriend or their husband or their boyfriend or their kids. They always used to do that.
I don't know if wallets even come with that book anymore, but most wallets used to actually come with like the thing that would be in there with the flippable pictures.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, like the pure plastic, so you could specifically put them in.
Yeah, I don't think wallets even come with that anymore. I think they just come with a spot for your ID, just because they know their market.
Yeah, could be right. I mean, I dare say, I mean, is wallets even a thing? I still have a wallet myself.
So do I, but I don't think I've ever bought in a wallet. I think wallets has always been a gift for me, and then I hold on to it for far too long.
Yeah, I've bought a couple in my life, and I used to keep my cards in my phone, but then my phone the casing started falling apart. So I went back to the wallet.
I've always been a wallet guy. You know, that's where I keep.
Yeah.
Right now, it's just like a graveyard because it's a bunch of closed credit cards. But hey,
Yeah, and yeah, well, I have my gas and electric card in there, but no, I actually like a wallet. I'm a type of guy. Maybe I'm getting too old. I like a wallet. I like wearing a watch. You know, I'm kind of that type of person. I don't like these smart watches or Apple watches or anything like that. Just give me a good traditional analog watch.
I've never really been much of a jewelry guy, so I've never worn a watch or necklace or earring or anything like that. I had an earring when I was young, but other than that, like I always just kind of like, even I don't even wear a wedding ring. Like, so I've just
Oh,
never
do
been.
that?
No, I don't. I'm married, but you know, you wouldn't know it.
Yeah, well, no, I wouldn't be a big jewelry guy, but I just think it's a damn thing, like I think, but I just think wearing a watch just complements what you're wearing, or you know what I
Until
mean?
you're around a bunch of homeless guys and they want your watch, so
You got to give it away.
yeah.
Yeah. So the group are on the run again, and we now have that Alan Silvestri score. It sounds a lot more like the Back to the Future vibe this time. Back
Well,
to the Future 3 vibe, sorry.
if I'm remembering this correctly, like when he says "Welcome to the neighborhood, boys," wasn't it a really cool shot of like them? Doesn't the crane kind of go up and like follow them like to where they're going on the run?
Yeah, I think it does. It's see them running through all the different places. Yeah.
Yeah, some very beautiful shots in this movie, and the lighting.
Mhm.
I love the warm yellow lighting throughout the entire thing. It just gives it a very unique look that, again, just not appreciated enough.
Yeah, no, 100% agree. It looks great. The film looks great. I love that. And I love that's another thing that this director does in this movie, John, as well, which I love is the transitions.
Mm-hmm.
You know, from scene to scene to keep the pace going. You know, he does some interesting things with the camera that aren't overly technical, but they're things that you don't have to do, but he does them anyway just to keep you engaged.
Yeah, 100%. I really enjoyed that. A lot of like beautiful looking, like kind of crane shots, like throughout like these blown out buildings, like where they're able to stay outside while the characters are inside and kind of like move it floor to floor. Like
Yeah,
some very creative stuff in here that, you know, it's weird. Again, something that's because of the movies like got lost in the shuffle, like you know, kind of overlooked. Like there's a lot of good in this movie that unfortunately doesn't get praised enough.
yeah, exactly, and that's why I'm saying it's competently directed. It's a nicely made movie, but the bad guys pursue, and then Ray says he can't keep up. And Frank tells him, "All I want is for you to move your ass." But they get the they get their payphone, but it's dead. And then that's where they see this apartment block. And Frank says, let's go get some help." And they claim the railings. And I love again, this is another great line. Somebody said, Ray says, "I'm not worried about my ass. I'm worried about my I'm worried about my jacket."
Yeah, I don't blame him.
Yeah. Sorry. Is that what he says? "I'm worried about my ass and not my jacket." Is that what he says? But he brings up how much it costs. He's like, "It's $450. Everything's about money for him. Every motivation's just money."
Yeah, which again, it's all his character. You said it earlier, well rounded, because like you could see, you understand his character without ever having to see what he did before this. We know exactly who he is because of everything he says and how he behaves.
Yeah.
He feels like a sleazy salesman.
Isn't that a great thing too, which me and you have kind of touched on recently, about how when you rate a movie and you can tell a lot about a character between just the dialogue between people in the moment
Mm-hmm.
about
I
what's
mean,
happening in the moment rather than giving this whole exposition. We didn't need a whole exposition about Ray's background, about it. We'll get that later on. Dennis Leary guesses your dad a stockbroker, and he says, "Yeah, but I'm a self-made guy." You know what I mean? But in other words, he's saying it's nothing to do with my dad being a stockbroker. But and we'll get to that scene. But what I'm saying is that we're learning about these characters just as they're conversing back and forward in the moment.
mm-hmm.
And again, but as I said, we don't need for Emilio Estevez's character to talk about his beautiful life. We just
No,
seen it.
we saw it.
We don't need to know what he works at, what his family's like, apart from his brother who's with him, which you can see that friction between them, his relationship with his friends. We don't need a big party scene at the front to show that they're all fun-loving, great guys. It's just, we see it as soon as they just meet up.
Yeah, we see a little bit, a few moments of them as friends before we get right into what the main story is, and we'll get obviously towards the end. But very short wrap up as well. You don't need to like hammer it home or hammer everything home. It's all just in the actual screenplay itself. It's a well written movie. Like it really is, because you can just get that all throughout without actually having an exposition dump.
Yeah, and this is what I'm learning about myself with us doing these movies this year, John, is that that is something that I subconsciously really appreciate, really, really like in my movies.
It ruins it so much when a movie, like, I know that you really like Joker too, and I not Joker 2, the sequel, I mean, like, the original, the Joker movie, like, I like it too,
Oh
but
yeah, yeah,
it really does bother me at the end how he explains everything. Like, I don't need that. Like, it was all there already. Like, I already saw it
yeah.
all, but it just feels like that's something there for modern audiences who can't, like, decode the movie, which I don't think it's that hard to do, but, like, it's just like we have to let them know everything.
Yeah, no, exactly, 100%. I totally agree with you. And this ties into what you were saying about Ray's character. He says, "You think these freaks will help us?" And Frank says, "These freaks are your neighbors."
Yeah. That's the line. Like, your front door's not 10 miles away from here.
Yeah, but to see a guy in a swing and they enter the apartment block, no one will help him. Frank
Yeah,
sees a... Sorry, John, go ahead.
I made a comment to Faith about this yesterday. Like, again, kind of in the racial undertones of the movie. Like, they send Cuban Gooding Jr., the one black guy, to open the door. I mean, to knock at the door, and it's like these people are going to be naturally afraid just because of the natural racism in them. At this time, it probably would have been smart to send like Emilio Estevez to the door. Like maybe they would have been more friendly and opening up to them.
Do you know what crossed my mind? Not so much about like the race thing. It was more kind of like the way they all barged in, four guys, kind of like
Angrily,
really angrily, really on edge. Oh, and I remember thinking before SFS realizes, look, just let me go up. I was actually thinking, why doesn't just one of them go up to the door nice and calmly and say, "Listen, we need your help here." You know what I
yeah,
mean? And then obviously he sees the woman and he asks for that help, but right away she's very suspect of him and puts a baseball bat on him.
yeah. I mean, understandable again because it is a group of guys. She's a woman, like very aggressive, and like for the area, I'm sure they've seen some shit.
Yeah. So they're weary. And listen, I don't know if you realize, but like, see when you live maybe in a area like that, you probably know everybody.
Hmm.
You know all the faces that come in and come out. And when you see an unfamiliar face, you'll probably be like, who the fuck's this and what are you doing here?
Yeah, how am I supposed to trust you? I don't know who you are. And then the behavior, the way you guys are acting, like you say you mean good, but how do I know that? I don't know you.
Which I don't understand why I don't know why it's a good idea for them to tell her that we just seen a murder and somebody's after us.
Yeah, I know. Like again, are you trying? Like you're not doing a good job of like earning her trust.
No, but that brings me, that would work opposite. It's kind of like, really, but I don't want involved. See you later. Bye bye. Close the door.
Yeah, like you know what? You can handle that somewhere else, not around me.
Yeah, it would have been easier to say, look, our truck broke down. We just want a phone for help.
Yeah, I know. Like that makes a little bit more sense.
Our truck blew up. Did you not hear it? Can you not smell it burning in the air?
Can we use your phone? None of us have a cell phone. Okay, that's fair.
Yeah. And just even for Ray to have a cell phone, you
Yeah, I
know,
know. That's pretty modern for the times. I think everyone would believe like if he didn't have one.
big time. But anyway, so Estevez says, just want to use your phone to call the police. We don't want to cause you any trouble. So in the meantime, the bad guys uh, bump into this local crew and they're going to pay them for information. And I love this, how this guy comes up, this leader of this crew here, and trying to intimidate these guys who are real, probably both serious, but I mean these other guys are real serious killers. Like, and but Fallon does the smart thing. You pick your battles, pulls him to the side, and he tries to make him seem like he's the important one. You know, you don't want to be knocked down in front of your crew, and he says to him, he goes to give him the money from the guy they shot.
Yeah.
And I love this line where he says, if where the other kid says, if I want your money, I'll take your money. And Fallon says to him, you can't take my money, but you can take my money. In other words, you can't take it because you want it, but you can take it if I give it to you.
Yep, exactly. Like it's a gift. It's not something like that. It's not. I'm not bribing you.
And then he says to him, money got blood on it. And he says to him, ever see any that doesn't?
All money's blood money.
Yeah, it's a great line back and forth. So anyway, they give him the information they need, and Ray's getting impatient on the cops. They've been waiting 17 minutes. Now, in his neighborhood, the cops will probably be there in 5.
They would have left the police station immediately. And like, even for something little, but like something like this that involves a dead person, they're not in a rush because of the neighborhood they're in.
Yep, because of the neighborhood. And I love how he says, give me the phone. I'll show you. They'll be here. They'll be here sooner than you think. And the phone's cut off. And he says, she says, the woman in the apartment says, it's them. They're here. And he says, how do you know? Maybe you didn't pay your phone bill.
Yeah, well, hey,
that's what he thinks of these people.
Yeah, I know everything. He's just thinks the lowest of them because again, he's on his little pedestal.
Yeah, and by this stage, Dennis is in the hallway taunting Frank. Francis Howard Watt. Your wife looks Italian. I always wanted to fuck an Italian girl, Frank.
Poor guy never got the chance, so I get it.
Yeah, man of the world.
Mm-hmm.
And but then he starts threatening the people in the apartments. He says, "Give them up now." Certainly, Clarence Boddicker there. Give them up now, and he says, "This will be the worst night of your life."
Yeah, this is messed up. He's just basically tearing apart all their apartments just to get get to them.
Yeah. The people in the apartments, they tell him to get out, and that's when Ray pulls the gun on them to stay. So this boy's a moron. So he's had this gun the whole time.
Yeah, and they make sure to bring that up to him right away. Like, where were you when you need? Where was the gun when we needed it? He's like, well, I'm using it now. Like he's like just so. Man, he bothers me at this point because he's just like so manic.
Yeah, he's the first one that starts to lose it. They all start to lose it periodically.
Yeah,
but he's the first to go. He's the first to snap. For all his bravado, he's mentally weak. But I love how they call him Razor. That must be his nickname when he's doing his wheeling and dealing.
Yeah,
sharp as a razor.
And now he's walking the razor's edge, so he might want to be careful.
Yeah, I think his razor's blunt. He needs to sharpen it. But Frank takes the gun off him. Come on, Razor, give me the gun. And
Frank knows exactly how to manipulate him.
Yeah, Frank's the man. And one of the girls tells him to go to the roof. She says the kids have a way of getting to the next building. It's the only chance you have. That reminds me of like a Star Wars line or something. Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
Yeah, it's their only chance. It is like a very over-exaggerated kind of line, but the way it's also delivered.
How does you know? Like it's the only chance you have.
That's it to get away from these people. That's it. You'll all die.
Not the fact you've got a gun. You've called the cops. Do you know what I mean?
No, that's it. The cops can't help. No one can help you. This is your last chance.
It is. It's like raising the stakes. The only way across out of here is up on the roof. The kids use it. It's your only chance.
That's it. You better get going or you're done.
Get the fuck out of my apartment. So
that's the real goal. She doesn't give a shit about anything else.
Yeah, that's what it is. She wants to get back to watching television.
Yeah, it's been a long day for her. She wants to settle in.
And I don't blame her. So midway, the bad guys are terrorizing the tenants, and Frank finds the escape route, a ladder, a wobbly ladder with wood across it, flimsy wood. Now, I have made a note here, John, that this movie does this scene better than Scream 6.
Well, yeah, 110%. I know your feelings on Scream 6. Not a big fan of it.
Yeah, well, Scream 6, that scene on the ladder. Now, keep in mind, I've only watched Scream 6 once, and it was like way last year. When I watched that scene in Scream 6, and it was supposed to be serious, I was literally in stitches laughing.
Fair enough.
I was howling.
There's a lot in Scream 6 that's like very unbelievable. You think there's some unbelievable stuff in this movie? Just watch Scream 6.
It's just funny when they do that ladder scene in Scream 6. But this is really good, really suspenseful. I really love it. And I like how Frank tries to ease their concerns and says, kids do this.
Yeah. kids are more athletic than men in their like late 20s, early 30s. Things are starting to hurt.
And later, not as
Yeah,
heavy.
that is also very true. They are very light. It makes it a lot easier.
Yeah. But I look at this and I go, Jesus Christ, the kids do this and you let them they could fall to their death.
I know, like it's normal. Oh, the kids just do that. Why are they doing it? They can trip.
Yeah. So I started. This thought came into my head last night. Say kids do this when I was about what age was I? So I was about, I don't know, 9, 10 years of age, 11 years of age. So moved beside a social club, right? A social club, like a GAA club, like a Gaelic association club. It was like a big Gaelic pitch behind us. We played Gaelic football and Gaelic games, and there was a social club.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like a social, like a bar and social club for people to hang out in and stuff, like adults to hang out in, and the kids could play the Gaelic games and all the rest. And me and my friends, we used to go. We couldn't get into the pitches. You could climb over if you wanted to, but they wouldn't let you. We know what I mean. So we wouldn't go into the pitches, but they had a big, massive car park, and we would play football in the car park. If the gates were open, and there was a fire escape and steps up to the fire escape. So there was, and when we were that age, 10, 11, 12 years of age, maybe even older, 13, we used to climb up the fire escape and climb over the side of the railings and slide down this big, massive pole. And it was about 25, 30 feet in the air. And we thought nothing of it. And we used to do it all the time.
That's how big a child is.
My daughter was playing a game up on that social pitch, up on that pitch last year, and I went up to watch her. And it's been years since I've been up that area because I moved away from that house in the late 90s. And so I took a wee down through the street, looked at the old house, and went up into the social club and seen those steps up into the fire escape. And I looked at it and I went, I can't believe I used to do that. I can't believe I used to climb up those steps, climb over the railing, and slide down that pole. That is madness. And I would not let her do it. I would not let my daughter do it if I knew it.
You should have went and did it that day to see if you still got it.
But in front of her and all her mates, wee! I couldn't do it now.
Probably not. But it's worth a try. If you would have been a hero.
Yeah. But you're saying you should have went and tried to do it just to see if you could do it. Now, keep in mind, I am in my early 40s. Ray's in his late 20s. Looks like he's in his early 40s. But he says he can't do it. And I'm just like, you're a loser. And
he is.
Frank tells him to come down the drain pipe. And he's like sliding down it. And I was thinking when I was rewatching this again last night, just to be fresh for the pod, I was going, that would probably be me if I was going down that pipe now.
Oh, probably. Yeah. That's probably me too if I was going down that.
Yeah. And of course, the pipe starts to break and he falls on top of them. I think by this stage, is it who's went across first? Is it Mike is went across first or John?
I think it was Mike.
It was Mike and then John, and then Frank starts debating with Ray who's going to go across first. But look, Ray by this stage has made his mind up. He's not going across. He's too afraid.
Yeah, and he's got to try something else. He's already in that mode.
It's the bad guys. They all appear, and Cuba Gooden Jr. Mike starts shooting at them, and that's when the ladder starts to break. So it does, but then obviously Frank gets across, and then Ray throws the ladder over the side. So he's got nowhere else to go. He has to stay, and speak to these guys. And he says to them, "I like this line. I ain't no acrobat. I'm going to negotiate." And somebody, I think it's Frank, says to him, "With what, Ray?" And he says, "I've got these guys where I want them. And the razor guy, remember? He's just a bullshitter."
Yeah, right now he's trying to convince himself that he can do this because he has to. He knows it's life or death.
Do you think he's convincing himself, or do you think he's well, I suppose so. Convince himself. You're right. But it's also just bullshit.
I mean, it's bullshit, but he needs to believe that bullshit in this moment.
Yeah, well, I suppose so. And they corner him. Now, this scene, John, I think this is the best scene in the whole movie.
I think I agree with you.
Yeah, it's just so well acted, and it's terrifying.
It's terrifying, and it's like it gives you that hope that everything's going to be all right before pulling the carpet out from under you.
Yeah, and Fallon said,
even though I was gonna say, even though it is, you kind of can see it coming, but still, you hope it doesn't happen.
Yeah, Fallon says to him, I like how he says, "Those shoes, are they Italian?" And he says, Italian running shoes, actually. Working well for me tonight.
Good joke.
It's a great one. He's trying to win them over with his wit and his humor. He's a wee bit smarmy. It's not working for these. It's not working at all. I think in another life that Fallon would have been an amazing negotiator.
Yeah, at this point, he doesn't really care to hear it, but he's very smart. He can do the bartering. He gets it. He's like, he could have had a great deal here, but that's not what he's interested in.
No, he's negotiating with a man who can't be negotiated with.
Nope. He already had his mind made up anyway. He's just kind of dragging you along at this point.
Yeah. And he gives him the ring, and he says that's a 15K down payment on the ring, and offers them 100K. But Fallon isn't buying it. He says to them about his friends. Do you honestly believe that your friends are going to keep quiet? He might have a point.
No, he's probably not wrong. He doesn't seem like somebody who, would be wrong about that.
Yeah, of course. Fallon goes off on one, doesn't he? And then he offers him 200K.
Yeah, he goes off like basically giving him he gives him a whole speech about like what it would mean to him if he were to take that money and everything like that. Just lights him up, and then the final response 200K, and they're like,
keep checking your pants to see if you got a dick. I got one. You and your friends are the kind of spoon-fed fucking fruit bait that I fucking hate.
All right, and then it's not working.
Yeah. He's trying, like, if he is a negotiator, Ray was trying to kind of say, look, me and you used to see him, he says about we're
businessmen.
We're businessmen. Fallon's not falling for it. He's like, oh no shit, really? Are we? Oh, okay. And that's when he actually gets offended that he would compare him to him. It's like it goes back to what I was saying earlier on, John, about the fact of he has an issue with the middle classes, and for him to compare himself to this guy who he sees as he's a weasel. But I'm not saying people who are middle class are weasels. You know what I mean? What I'm saying is he doesn't want, just like Ray has prejudice towards these kind of people, he's also got prejudice towards them kind of people. So he doesn't see that, but he knows he's being bullshitted too. You know what I mean? You're a business guy and business guys. It's just a business transaction. And then Fallon knows this is a business transaction. This is murder. This is me going to prison for the rest of my life, and you living your nice, cushy life that you've built for yourself because your dad's a stockbroker. You had a great start in life. You can't comprehend what type of life I've had or what kind of start I've had in life. I think that's what he's trying to say.
I agree with that. That's exactly what he's trying to say. That's he comes and you know what? Ray gives off that impression the entire time. Yeah, he's like kind of cool now because he's desperate for his life, and Dennis Leary knows that. But for the most part, he always comes off as somebody who is above these people. And for Dennis Leary's character, that's just something he can't buy into. That's what Fallon is, and that's why this is the scene also where they say that's why we hang around with him, is because of the kind of person he is. He's almost like a martyr.
Yeah, and that's me not justifying Dennis Leary's actions. He's psychotic, but that's to me is his motivation for his. So there's more to his pursuit of these guys than just they witnessed a murder. He didn't have to shoot that guy in front of them. It's almost like he done it on purpose, so he would have a reason to go after them.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point. I mean, he knew they were there, so I guess that does make sense. But I think he was going to kill that guy anyway.
Yeah, he was going to kill him, but he didn't have to do it there.
No, he could have put him in the car and dragged him around the corner instead of doing it dead center in the street. Yeah. True.
And then it's like, how many guys is in there? Did you tell? And he asked him, "Did you tell them who I am?" You know what I mean? Okay, fair enough. Fair information, but it's just I just get the feeling as this movie goes on, this becomes and Frankie becomes his white whale. It's like he in his mind, Frank becomes his arch nemesis, even though he's never ever met the bloody guy or spoke to him. And we see that's in this scene here because he throws Ray off the roof, and I say here it's gut-wrenching scene. It's gut-wrenching, but before it, he says, when he thinks he's got a deal, he's like, okay, and he's looking over at the guys, giving them the thumbs up as if I've done it. There's this kind of relief. He feels like a weight's been lifted off his shoulder, and he's like, you schooled me, but he's being patronizing. You can lift my balls, eventually go back to where they were. And he says, I'm getting off this roof in one piece. And Fallon says, yeah, and just pushes him off the roof. But you see this then that, Cuba Gooding Jr., Mike opens fire on them. He's a piss poor shot as well.
Oh my God, he had a wide open shot on everybody, and he just gets the one guy on the left. That's horrible.
Yeah, I mean, like you think. I mean, I don't know. I mean, obviously, maybe he hasn't had gun training, but I'm just kind of like, you should have just kept it on Dennis Leary's head the whole time, instead of just running there and going, ah. So maybe he's in shock.
I mean, I don't think he had any intention of actually doing that until he saw Ray die, especially since he didn't expect Ray to die.
Yeah, I don't think they were expecting it. And this is what I'm saying here is that, he clips one of them in the arm, but you see Frank and you see Dennis. I've written down Dennis here. It's actually Fallon. I've written down his first name, but you see Frank and Fallon. They eye each other, his arch nemesis. They stare at each other.
Both sides of the two, which, they do kind of represent the leaders of their two respective gangs at this point. Like, there's not much of them. Like, it's not like it's like 12 on 12 or anything like that. It's like 3 on 3 at this point.
Yep. Yeah, it is. And,
Frank versus Fallon.
Yeah, but they're like the two leaders of their two groups,
Yep, exactly.
So they run anyway, and they see Ray's body. And the Edge throws his ring back. I'm just going to call him the Edge.
Yeah, the Edge throws his ring back.
He rolls into beside his bloody corpse. And this is where they go into the sewer. Meg says, we should have done something. He says, what does he say? Something about it doesn't seem right that Ray went out like that. And Frank says nothing seems right at all about this night.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good point. Like, what's normal about this? We're crawling around in the sewer. We're supposed to go to a boxing night.
So the bad guys see them down the sewer, and you hear Fallon saying, "Hello, ladies."
I love that.
Yeah, it's like that's where I got that. That's where I got that today when I messaged you.
That's what it was. That's where you got it from. There's a wrestler named Val Venus whose entrance song would start off with "Hello, ladies," and then a saxophone would kick in.
Yeah, well, I think it's subconscious because I wasn't specifically thinking about this when I wrote it. I just wrote it.
It was just it's there in your mind. It's implanted you.
It's one of those things. But they shoot down the sewer and then pursue them, and they stay down this pipe. I love how Cuba Gooding Jr. looks back. He looks serious. He's getting angry at these guys now. They've been on the run. Now he's going to try and turn it around. But Fallon says here to the rest of his gang about splitting up. Now this shot, this director, he does it 3 times in this movie. You must love this shot where it's like a split screen and it's somebody's face up close, and then you can see the background, and it's both in focus.
Yeah, he's done this a few times. And honestly, there's a couple of inspirations in this movie that he clearly took from other more famous movies. Like that shot's something that Brian De Palma loves to use, but being in the sewers like this and the way that the camera's set up when they're running, it's right out of The Third Man.
Yeah. Well, see that shot he does with the face and the thing? He does that in Nightmare on Elm Street 5.
Yeah, he's clearly wearing his inspirations on his sleeve in some of these movies.
Yeah, and I'm near certain that it's been a while since I've seen part 5. The scene that I remember him doing it in is at the start, where it's actually Robert Englund. It's showing you the asylum where the nun, his mum, gets trapped with all the maniacs, and Robert Englund comes up to the camera and smiles into the camera, which he does the exact same shot here with Fallon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he knows what he's doing with these shots. He's that's one thing directors do. They kind of just try and reuse things that work well for them.
Yeah. So they end up in a part of the sewer here where it's like, I don't know, it's a big open part of the sewer. It's here's Fallon saying, when the Saints, and Meg says these guys don't give up. He decides to make a stand. He says it's our only chance of making it out alive. He says, I always wondered how doing combat could have cut it. So he's getting a bit delusional here.
Yeah, I know. He's losing it just a little bit.
He's staring at the paper and all. Could have got it. Could have do it. What about you, Frank?
Yeah, he's getting a little bit out there, and it's gonna blow up soon.
Yeah, and they're like, they've got guns, and he's like, screw the guns. And he lifts the weapons, so iron bars, a pipe, and a stick. The rest of us lifts a stick. This is like a computer game, Do you remember a game called Streets of Rage?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I guess I can see what you're getting at here. The pipe thing, that was hysterical, though.
Yeah, you used to walk about the streets. You could lift a knife, a broken bottle, a pipe.
A pipe. Like, that's it. He's a strong boy, and he's a strong grown boy.
Yeah. So they're basically choosing their weapons to fight back here, and and the music. The music in this scene is really strange. It reminds me of the whale scene in the Goonies.
Oh, that's a good way to put it. I
Yeah,
can see what you're saying. I always felt like sometimes in this movie, a lot of the stuff was a little bit better than like what the rest of the quality of like the scenes were. Like they felt like a little bit like a little cheesy, but like everything else feels like so elevated. The quality of it, the great camera, like the direction and the acting doesn't sometimes match up to the rest of the tone, if that makes sense.
yeah, no, I got you, and I think maybe that goes back to what I was saying earlier about the director saying there is no script is much darker. I know, and apparently they had somebody working on the script as well while they were filming.
Yeah, that's unfortunate thing. That's a very unfortunate thing. Modern filmmaking gets killed by that. Like, it could hurt the actors, but I don't think it really does, but I guess it hurts it in certain areas.
Yeah, no, I don't think it does. What I actually like about you're saying about the tone, what I like about it is that whether it's intentional or this was intentional or not, was that it starts jovial. It starts off, only going to be a few hours. We're just going to watch a boxing match. And as it progresses, as the night progresses, things get more serious, things get more tense. There's infighting, and then infighting starts with the bad guys, and there's all this. I mean, who's going to survive? Who's not going to survive? We've seen them kill one of the guys. Any of them are vulnerable now. And I don't know if that's intentional or not, but it could be, as you say, the tone's kind of shifting up and down because of the different writers.
Yeah, exactly. Which, that does kind of hurt it too. It's an unfortunate thing about filmmaking, and this does feel very much like a studio film with a lot of, pieces in the kitchen.
Yeah, but there's optimism for the guys now. Rather than running, they're taking a stand.
Yeah.
John's shouting across. He's like, Mike, I got your back.
Yeah. Oh my god! And then when he says that, I thought you were supposed to have my back.
Yeah,
should have said it
here. Well, there's 3 ways in and 3 ways out, and Peter Green, aka Siggs, he sneaks up, and this came to my mind when I seen him here, looking like a young Jack Napier.
Yeah, it's funny, but the young Jack Napier from Batman, that very distinct face does look like a young Peter Green.
Yeah, well, because his hair's all wet, it's all slicked back. Even though he does have
strong jaws.
Yeah, the high cheekbones, and the way his hair's slicked back, but it's wavy. But when the water, it's just slicked back tight to his head. And then the way he's wearing those black gloves, leather gloves, with the same type of gun.
That's true. You ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight?
Yeah.
Jack, let's get out of here. See you around,
man, let's
kid.
go. Yeah.
See you around, kid.
But John sees him and freezes, and that's when Frank tackles him, and they take his gun. And I like how Mike says to him, "Who's the chicken shit now?" And he taunts him by saying, "If you don't give me the gun, the same thing that happened to your friend is going to happen to you." And Mike shoots him.
Same thing that happened to your friend Ray is going to happen to you.
Not a wise thing to say when a man's holding a gun pointing it at you.
Well, I was thinking to myself when this happened, I'm like, I'm glad that Peter Green didn't go down like no bitch. He had no other option though. Like this was his last ditch effort, was to like insult him, and like, because he's literally like, "Come on, give me the gun back." Like, he's not gonna give you the gun back. Like, there's 4 of them. Are you kidding?
After everything that they've done, they've been trying to kill him. They've just killed their friend.
Yeah. He's gonna give you the gun back. Oh, you got me. Yeah, here's the gun back. No, but I give him like at least credit, like for not crying or anything. Like, he's like, all right, this is my best shot here. Maybe I can manipulate him. It doesn't work, but I give him credit for trying.
It's not even so much manipulating as in threatening him, and they give him the gun, and because okay, not plead for your life, but just say, like, don't kill me. I'm sorry. This other guy's making me do it. I don't want to do it. But because these guys aren't killers, really. Mike isn't a killer. They might be fighters, fisticuffs, but they're not killers. And when he does shoot him, you see that kind of like, Mike standing like, wide-eyed, can't believe what he's done. And then he says, but he's got a taste for it now. But he says to him, "You see the look on his face? He didn't think I could do it." So he's getting a taste for this, and he wants to stay and fight. But Frank tells him, "This isn't a goddamn game."
Yeah, Frank's pissed at him for it, the way he just and Faith asked me while we're watching, like, why is he so mad? I'm like, it's the way he reacted to killing someone. You just took a man's life, whether he's a piece of shit or not. know what you did. Like, it's not a game. Let's get the hell out of here.
He surprised himself at how well he kind of like took it, maybe,
Yeah, like the way
But
it made him feel.
he said it earlier, could have cut it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't phase him once he pulled the trigger. Okay, he probably pulled it in anger, but once he done it, didn't phase him. He wants to stay and finish the job. Whereas, like, I'm not saying that Frank's a coward either, but Frank's just kind of like, listen, he's not up for murder, and he goes to leave. Can I ask, is this the first time Faith has seen this movie?
No, she watched it with me last year too. She didn't remember that she'd seen it, but she was like watching it like with me while I was watching it. And then like, so she didn't remember certain things, but like when that happened, like that's what she said. And it's like, it's good to get like another perspective as we're watching it.
Yeah, it is. It is, exactly. It definitely is. Okay, so up on ground, Meg confronts John and Frank. And Frank intervenes. But that's right. He says about having my back. Thought you were supposed to have my back. And when Frank intervenes, he says to him, your baby brother fucked up. He better not do it again. And Frank says, or what?
Or what? You're starting to see the anger coming out of Frank now. He's pissed.
Well, it's his brother. It's his flesh and blood. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. You're always going to go to bat for your brother. But like this whole situation, it's just like it's getting to him now. Like, remember we're talking about like how some of them are like losing it. Frank's like fed up now.
Yeah, well, that's what I said. That you periodically see them, all of them, start to mentally break down, and we've seen it happen to Ray. It's starting to happen to Mike.
Mike's
well.
like, yeah, Mike's
on the edge.
Honestly, John's like probably at this point the most level-headed in this moment.
Well, he's just terrified.
Yeah, it's making him a little bit more like, I feel like Frank's just, I feel like had a lot of anger in him about everything that's gone on.
Oh yeah, Frank's the quiet man who sits in the corner, who won't bother you unless you bother him. That's that you hear that saying about the quiet guy. The quiet guy's the toughest guy in the room.
Because he has nothing to prove.
Yeah, and and he's other things in his mind. He just wants to get home to his wife and kid. But I love this how he says the when he says that to him, or what, Cuba Gooding Jr. kind of comes back to his senses, and he's like, "That's the Frank I used to know."
I love that.
But Emilio Estevez says them, "You better believe it."
You better believe it. Classic Emilio Estevez line, right?
Yeah, it's a great line. I love that. You better believe it. He says, "Now let's get off this street," and that's where he first says he gets annoyed. And he's like, "Yes, sir, boss."
That's the line.
Yeah, he's making that kind of sarcastic, kind of, "Oh, you're the boss. We have to do what you say," type of thing. But Fallon finds the body of Peter Green. And this is where these ones are starting to snap now. They have had one of their men taken out, and the other goon, he questions his leadership. "I didn't sign on to this. One of your men is dead because of your goddamn rules." But he hits him and drowns him. And this is what he says here. "I hate whiners. People that complain. Yap, yap, yap."
Just the yap about the food, and yap about the guards, and yap about this, and yap about that, and yap, yap, yap all night long.
This is what I mean about this being like Dennis Leary. Like, this is exactly like something he would say in his stand-up. The way he's talking so fast while doing that. And then I love Everlast's line, "I don't think he's getting up."
Yeah, that's right. And he just looks and he goes, "He's gone." So in my opinion, he didn't mean to kill him. I think that his anger, his rage just took over.
I agree. That's exactly what I think too. He just got so mad and then like, he didn't even realize he was doing it. And Everlast isn't going to intervene or jump in. He's like, he's gone. You can stop.
Yeah, he's not going to question him. He's just going to go along as well. And I just said he plays a great psychopath. So he does, Dennis Leary, I think. But this is the transition I like, as you said, as the camera pans out, John. And then we have this, when it comes to a pillar, there's a cut, and then it pans in to this this derelict building where we see Meg and Frank and John are hiding out.
I love that shot, man. I love it. It's beautiful. Numerous shots like that in this movie that aren't appreciated enough, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's great. It's acted on a great job. But this is where John starts to lose it. And it's like I said, you said John seems to be the only level-headed one. No, he's scared shitless. He's scared stiff. This tough guy, this bravado he was putting on, I'm a tough guy, blah, blah, blah. It's not really, it's just completely shattered when he confronts real bad guys or real tough guys. And he explains to John that Frank, that he froze in the sewer. And that he's scared. And
Which is understandable, I think.
yeah, it's human. So I mean, I'm not making a judgment on his character, that he's not tough. It's just I think that's the arc of his character, and as I say, I like that where he says where Frank hugs him and he says to him about being scared, and Frank says himself, "I'm scared too," and he says about makes us scared as we are.
Yeah, everyone's scared, which is fair. Like we said in the beginning, these are like regular middle class guys. This isn't something that they're made to be doing. This is like a complete, like for the other guys, this is probably like maybe a little abnormal night, but they've been there.
And this is where Mike calls him boss again, and he says, "Why don't you cool it on that boss stuff?"
Yeah, he's not liking this. He's not liking what he's putting out there.
No, he's the tension's building between Frank and Mike, and that's when we see a bus coming back, but it won't stop. The chase after it. I love that bus driver. The female bus driver is like, "I don't think so." But Mike fires his gun off with frustration and then hits Frank.
Yeah, I know. Unintentional, but it's what happened.
You say it was unintentional.
I don't think he meant to hit. You said Mike hit him, right?
Mike hits Frank. And
yeah,
Max
I don't think.
him.
Yeah, I don't think that was intentional for him to. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of something else. No, he definitely meant to hit him. And yes,
yeah,
yeah, he meant to do that to him. But also in this moment, tensions are running really high. I like this moment a lot too because they're able to get past it so fast.
Yeah, well, he calls him out because he's looking at, I don't know, he's frustrated, he's angry, he wants to take it out on someone. He probably thinks Frank should be doing more to get vengeance, maybe for Ray or to fight back more. Whereas and this isn't the guy he used to know, not realizing that Frank has moved on with his life, as he's got older, because he is the one with the family. And then that's when he says, I think that's when he says to him, "What happened to you, man? You used to have balls." And then he
balls
says,
of steel, right? Or something like that.
He says somebody used to have balls. And he says, "Is that what you think this is about? Balls?"
Yeah.
And he says to him about, he's got a wife and a daughter and he will go home to them tonight.
Yeah, which again, it's perfectly contextualizing the differences in them and how Mike can't wrap his head around that. Like, do you understand why I changed? I have to get home to my family. I'm responsible for them. Like, you got to understand that. You're not getting it. Like, I hate what happened to Ray too. That was my friend. But we can't do nothing right now. We have to survive ourselves.
Yeah, and that's when he says to him, he says, "Gotta go home." He says, "Not go out like some kind of hero." But he says to him, "If you want to go out like that," he says, "you do it alone." But I like what you're saying here about how they get past it so quickly because, they love each other. They're good friends. It's just the situation has got them up the high dough. And Meg shouts after Frank. He's like, and then Frank turns back to him and says, "What? God damn it!" And Meg says to him, "Just wait up." And I like how he looks back and he just kind of goes,
"Yeah, just like, come on." All right. That's what I mean. Like, they're friends no matter what. Like, that's what real friends are supposed to be. We have a disagreement. Like, if a friendship can get past you punching me in the face, like, we can do this. Like, it is what it is. Like,
one thing about Frank's character is he understands. He's probably the most mature out of them all. He understands. Even Ray, for all his faults, he shook his head about the cell phone. I thought that was dead, and he shakes his head. He's like, "Oh, I can't believe you," but doesn't mean he's going to fall over him. Same with when he took the gun off him. "Give me the gun, Razor." He still helped him down the pipe and tried to talk him into going first across the ladder. He understands, and that's what I really like. And then even he's like the Rock. Even when John here is falling apart, even though he's his brother, it doesn't matter if it's his brother, gives him a hug and he says, "I'm scared." And he opens up. He says, "I'm scared too."
Yeah.
Make's scared as well. Everybody's scared. We just want to get out of this. So I that's the qualities I like about Frank. Not so much about that he used to be this tough guy or he used to have balls or whatever. You know what I mean? He's understanding. He's the voice of reason almost.
He's smart enough to know when it's time to move on.
Yeah, exactly. They end up at a place called Fullerton Market, and we hear their music. The music's a bit more optimistic now, and Mike throws a bin through the window because they see a sign saying "Warning, 24-hour security," and he says, "Let's try and wake them up."
Yeah. Hey, listen, some sort of effort to try and make somebody notice that we're out here.
Yeah, and this is we're getting here now to basically, and in my opinion, this is like the third act, and this is just like this whole big set piece and this kind of shopping complex, and the alarm goes off. They're looking for the security guards, and I love this line Frank says here about hell of a security system, excellent response time. Because there's nobody about who they are.
I know, no one's coming.
Yeah, and a security guard. Then a security guard apprehends them. John says they're calling the cops, and Frank says that's 911, buddy. I love how the security guard says, "Tell them to haul their ass. These creeps are really loaded on something."
Well, that's what you'd expect from the area.
Yeah, but they're jovial to see like security guards. They're just so happy. They're gonna lift this. They're gonna call the cops. We're gonna get out of this. Our lives are saved. You know what I mean? And the security guards can't understand why are these people acting so goofy for. They don't understand the night they've had.
Yeah, like it's been a very terrible night.
Yeah, he thinks they're on drugs, which they're not, far from it. And the second security guard goes off to call the cops, and he's killed by Fallon, stabbed.
Yep, Fallon's a cold-hearted killer, man.
A la T-1000. It's like
Yeah, oh yeah, so quick, except a little bit different knife.
Yeah, smaller knife. The security guard finds Meg's gun. But I love how they search them, and he's like, "Careful, I'm ticklish." And that's when Fallon makes the announcement on the tannoy. Another great line. He says, "A special in the frozen food department. Dead meat."
Dead meat.
Yeah, and this is where the edge comes out and shoots the security guard. Meg fires back. That's another line that Fallon says as well. He shouts in the tannoy, "Shop do you drop? Isn't that right, Frank?"
He's just fucking calling Frank out at this point.
He fucking loves it. In his head, that's his arch nemesis,
Yeah, it is. It's, they just met tonight, but that's it. He hates him. He's everything he's not.
See what he's reading out his driver's license to, or sorry, his wallet back in the apartment. You see Frank in the apartment going, "How does he know my name?"
He doesn't understand.
He doesn't. He's just latched on to him. It's his arch nemesis, his white whale. He needs to get Frank.
That's it.
Yeah. But anyway, Meg fires back at the edge, and there's that Predator 2 music comes in, and there's a bit of a shootout ensues. Frank tells Meg, cut his heroics, and Meg says to him, "Frank, you got a family." I can't make it. What's the other line he says?
"Frank, you got a family. I only got you."
Is that what he says? Right. I couldn't make that out.
This is the line I was talking about earlier, like that puts into perspective how he's finally come to his senses. Like, I don't have anybody else but you. Like, you have something to live for. You're just my friend.
Yeah. And this is great as well because, okay, but look, read between the lines here. I mean, I don't think the most in-depth characters that I've ever encountered in my life, but there is a slight bit of depth there about their character. I think they're rounded enough. And this is the thing about Meg. Meg hasn't moved on in his life. And I think we all have friends like that, John. Like maybe when you get married or whatever and all the rest, there was probably some of your friends were still maybe run about going with different girls, hadn't settled down and probably asking you to come out and do this and do that. And you probably say, "Well, look, I'm married now," blah, blah, blah. But it's like Meg hasn't moved on. He's still chatting up random women. He's still just going out and looking to have a good time. Whereas Frank's like, "No, listen, I'm a family man now." And Meg does, as you say, doesn't understand that. And this is during this movie, his arc is the penny's finally dropped here. Yeah.
Yeah,
You
it's
know, I
finally
don't.
clicked like what it really is and what his position in the world is, and that's why he's willing to sacrifice himself.
Yeah, and something about it is always it reminded me. Maybe it's because I watched Terminator 2 recently. Like the way he's lying there with the gun, that reminds me of the way Miles Dyson was kind of sitting.
Oh yeah, you could look at it like that. That's perfect. Yeah, with his back against the wall like this.
Yeah, the way those
Yeah,
containers are. Yeah,
yeah, that's a good
uh,
way to look at that.
yeah, it just reminded me of it when I was watching it the other night. It's probably because I watched Terminator 2 last week.
Yeah, that might have something to do with
Yeah, yeah, I
it.
would say that has a lot to do with it. And so he says he's going to finish it. And something I noticed in this particular scene, when the edge shoots Meg and Meg shoots back, and he hits the edge almost towards near the heart. So obviously, Meg runs out of ammo when he's just firing. There's nothing that's coming out of his gun, and the edge is that damaged that he ends up falling down dead. But Meg is dressed like a cowboy.
Yeah, Mike is. That is true. He with the leather vest. I pointed out the leather vest yesterday. I'm like, it's a nice looking vest, but yeah, he is dressed like a cowboy.
But it's like, because you remember he was wearing like his college jacket. Again, another indication he hasn't grew up because he's wearing that jacket, right?
Yep.
From his college years. And but he's given that away scenes ago. And I realized in this scene, as I was saying there, he's dressed like a cowboy. He's got this blue denim shirt.
And the big 6-shooter too, that looks like an old Western gun.
Yeah, he's got the leather vest, a pair of jeans, and he's wearing cowboy boots.
It's all adding up.
It's a big shootout, exactly. So he's injured. He's lying on the ground. Fallon starts taunting Frank, "Come out and get Meg. Come out and rescue your friend." And but Frank runs to cause a distraction, and John, in the meantime, he rescues Meg, and Frank switches the lights on. The lights coming on in this place just reminded me like of Gremlins. When they switched all the lights on inside the department store.
Yeah, I could see that. And honestly, like the wood in there, all the like the unfinished wood and everything kind of reminded me of Lethal Weapon 3.
Mm-hmm. Oh, do you know what? I haven't watched 3. I've only seen 3 once.
Oh,
And
really?
I watched it years ago, John, and I keep meaning to go back because I bought the 4 movies in a Blu-ray pack, and I've only ever watched the 3rd and 4th one once.
Ah, okay. I go back to those like every other year. 3, they end in this like wooden, like an unfinished housing development. So there's a lot of like unfinished houses. It kind of reminded me of that here.
Ah, yes, isn't that where um, Murda killed someone with like the nail gun?
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I need to go back and watch the 3rd and 4th one again. So I've watched I watched the first one every year, and the second one I've watched a couple of times.
Yeah, the 1st and 2nd one I usually watch every year. The 3rd and 4th every few years.
As in Lethal Weapon 1's my first official Christmas movie of the year. That opens up Christmas for me.
Hey, it's a good one to start the Christmas season with.
Yeah, in early December, so won't be long. But this next part here, I totally forgot about this. I was pissing myself laughing at this. So this worker comes out with a stock on pallets, cans of Coke and soft drinks.
Oh my God, this is ridiculous. I wrote down in my notes, I'm like, the headphones that this guy is wearing are better than any headphones today still.
I love it. Those old Walkman headphones where they like the wee kind of like a spongy around the speaker, wee sponge part that covered them, and they used to hurt your ears after about half an hour. But yeah, he's got the Walkman on and he's singing, and Fallon doesn't know what the fuck's going on. He just starts shooting at the fucking at this trolley coming towards him. And you see your man, he doesn't hear a bloody thing. He's singing away and he's like, "It's all right with me." Until he actually sees what the fuck's happening and he runs.
This is the most logical thing. He would have heard the gunshot.
I know, he would have heard the bangs, but I love it. It's like, I was thinking about this, like, they've broken this at night time and the security guards have been taken out, okay? And it's like what we said about T2. Not to criticize T2 when they're in the steel mill. There's nobody else here. No other workers. Nobody comes in to see if everybody's okay. Everybody just run out the front door. But here's this.
That's just doing his job like nothing else is going on.
Yeah, this is this night worker just filling the shelves, getting this, doing the night shift with his music on, and this shit's happening in front of him. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, he's just trying to get through the night, and it's all fucked up now.
Fallon shoots John in the leg as he's running with Mike, and Frank grabs the Edge's gun, and there's a bit of a shootout, but they get in the lift, and then Frank runs out of ammo, and then he hides the injured Mike and John in an upstairs storeroom, and he tells Mike to stay here. He's going to get help, and Mike says, "Yes, sir, boss."
A little bit more emotional on that one, like a little bit more funny, kind of like lighthearted version.
Yeah, he laughs. He gives a wee laugh and he smiles at him. And Frank smiles back. He gets it. It's like, okay, he's having a bit of a joke with him. And one thing about this movie here, and I want to ask you about this, especially when we get to the end. I really thought that at this stage Mike was going to die.
So did I. I thought at least him or John would die, but he was the most messed up, Mike. I was like pretty sure he was going to die.
Yeah, and one thing I want to ask you is, I was going to ask this when we got to the end. We're close to the end now, but I'll just ask it now, but it's fresh in my mind. Do you get copped out? Do you think that keeping them alive was like one of those, you said it, one of those studios' decisions? Because when you think about it, I'm glad they survived. I like the ending, but do you think that that one out of the 4 guys being killed was a bit of a cop out?
If I was writing the movie, I personally would have just had Frank survive and had all 3 of them die, and like him be the only one because of the family element. Like, all of his friends like sacrificed themselves for him, his brother, and everything. Maybe had John die, but I definitely think that it would have been good to have Cuban Gooding Jr. die. It's just from a story perspective, like, raise the stakes a little bit. Yeah, Ray died, but this whole final shootout, nobody else dies except for the bad guys.
Yeah, it almost feels like, to me, I wouldn't be surprised if, well, like you're saying, if the original script was more darker and more violent, I wouldn't be surprised if Frank was the only one who survived, and I also wouldn't be surprised if they shot an alternate endings
where he was the only one.
Yeah, or even his brother just died, although he was shot in the leg, or Mike died.
Yeah, interesting thought. I could see that.
Yeah, I would be interested to know. But anyway, in the meantime, Fallon is taunting. He's taunting Frank again, but he's starting to lose it a bit. He's like, "Come on, Frank, scumbag, maggot."
Yeah, I think he knows he's his time's running out.
He probably feels like he's starting to lose the battle here. He's like, "I killed 2 of your pussy friends. I'm gonna kill you."
We didn't really kill him though.
No, he thinks they're dead and they're not. And the Frank checks the phone. The receiver's snapped off. He can't phone for help. And I love this wee quick scene here of Frank and Mike in the closet where they're sitting. He's holding the pressure on his belly where he's bleeding, and John turns and says to him, I love this release of pressure here, a release of tension. He says to him, "You're fucked up," and Meg says to him, "At least I can walk."
It's a good point.
Yeah, it's funny, it's good, it's banter. It's like, while we're in the moment of the movie and the tension, they're building bridges.
Yeah, it's a little lighthearted moment between friends, like, hey, I got your back. I always got your back, like, even though what happened before.
Yeah, because he rescued him.
Yeah,
he's redeemed himself, and he helped him up here. And now he's holding the pressure on his thing, and he's giving him a bit of levity there in this serious situation. So it's brilliant. And but Fallon's searching this room. They see Fallon's in this room, and Frank sees this, and the only thing he can do is distract him again. So he calls Dennis out. He's getting his balls back. He's getting his mojo. "You fucking scumbag, I'm out here." I don't know why I said it like that. It's just that.
It was close. It was close to Dennis Leary.
I was trying to do Estevez.
Oh, that was Estevez. You're closer to Leary.
Leary and Estevez mixed up.
Yeah.
Estevez probably more like, "You fucking scumbag, I'm out here."
That's a little better.
Even better. Get there. A bit more practice.
You'll get there with time.
Well, I'll have to practice that for when we do our Young Guns 2 episode.
Exactly.
Well, John Tunstall with blood all over his face. Anyway, Fallon taunts his wife again. and you don't taunt the man's wife. And Frank takes his belt off, wraps it around his fist. Again, that Nightmare on Elm Street 5 shot, and he tries to strangle Fallon in the fight, destroying a lot of glass. This is the fight where there's just fighting and all this glass is smashing.
I mean, yeah, he even smashes his head into a window at one point. He kind of goes up behind him and kicks him into a window.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, it's like I said last week about Francis Ford Coppola. How can we make this death interesting? How can we make this fight interesting? Well, what if they're fighting, where there's loads of glass, and everything's smashing, reminds me of that James Bond. Remember when we done Moonraker earlier on the air?
Yeah. The guy who owned that strip mall came in the next day, all of his glass broken and everything like that. Just like, what the fuck? Who's paying for this?
All this glass everywhere. It's like, Jesus Christ, brilliant. But Frank says, "What did you say you're gonna do to my wife?" Yeah. In the end, Fallon gets the better of Frank. And he's kicking him, and he's like, "Jesus Christ, you're Frank." After all this, he's like, "Yo, Jesus Christ, you're Frank." You can't believe this small guy, even though it's in his driver's license, 5'6", because I paused it and took a look. Look at his date of birth. Is that your height? It's the same height as Emilio Estevez. And I looked at his date of birth, 25th of April, 1965.
I believe it.
Yeah, I don't know if that's Estevez's date of birth, but it's on Frank Howard Watts' identification.
I always wonder how they come up with that. Like, do they go by something real or what? But Emilio Estevez was really born on May 12th, 1962.
There you go. Well,
So-
do you know what? This is a wee bit off topic. And John, you're a big Batman 89 lover,
Yeah.
like myself. And I actually I might get this framed and put up somewhere if I can, the man cave. I bought a replica of the newspaper which says Wind Freak terrorizes Gotham's gangland.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's an exact replica. But the guy that I bought it off, he sent me a replica of the Jack Napier flyer.
Oh, the young one?
Yeah, no, Ackhart's giving him out. Shoot to kill.
Oh, the ones with his mugshot that he's like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's perfect too.
Yeah, and it has details of Jack Napier on it, so I must take a look,
Let's see what his height and weight are.
tell you what it says. So, but like you say, it makes you wonder, where did they get this from? Did they take it from the actor, or did they just make it up? It's just...
Sometimes it's like little Easter eggs. It's like somebody on the crew's like name and stuff like that. So maybe they use their birth dates as like a little homage.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
could be.
So, but I would say Estevez is about 5'6".
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah. So he reads the address, Deadwood Drive. He says about, oh, isn't that convenient or something? And he says about his daughter, you'll never see her grow up anyway. So
And
this is it.
that's what sets him off.
So this is the old Frank.
Yep, comes right out right here.
Comes out and absolutely batters him, knocks him into like a banister, which breaks. And Fallon's like, help me for Christ's sake.
Yeah, I know. I
puts
would
the
have
hand
helped
out.
him. I wouldn't have
God.
helped him.
No.
I would have turned my back 110%. If anything, I would have walked over and pushed him. But this is trying to illustrate how Frank is a good guy. And immediately Dennis Leary's like, I knew you'd do the right thing. And it's just like, you fuck. I knew you. That's why you don't trust a guy like that.
And he's Luke's was it Dominic at this stage? I think he looks like a demon at this stage. The way the makeup is, the grin, the eyes, and he's like, come with me, Frank. Come on. And he's trying to pull him over. And that's when Frank says, you're on your own, pal, and kicks him over the edge, kills him. And he says to him, don't call me Francis.
He hates that.
No, he doesn't. Like, there's certain people there that maybe like their mothers would call them like that name, like Francis, and their friends call them Fra or Frank or Frankie. And if anybody else calls them by their first true name, they're like, don't call me that. My mother only calls me that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, my brother's name is Frank, and it's just Frank, but he's named after my grandfather, whose name is Francis. But my dad, big, doesn't want our names to be all messed up, having to go by different names. So it's just Frank.
So he's specifically Frank.
He's just Frank, and I'm just John. It's just simple like that.
Yeah. No, but it's yeah. straightforward. It's like make yourself like. I have people that call me different names, not rude names, by the way. I'm sure I get them too. But like, we're funny. We were talking about this the other week. I was talking about this to my mum the other week, and my niece, about nicknames. Do you know what I mean? People call you, and you know, I have people call me Dave, David. Well, that's my name. D. You know what I mean? And then the odd person call me Davey, and it's like I never introduce myself as any of those things. If I introduce myself, it's David. You know, and if people call me David, I would prefer that. But I get all different names, but it doesn't bother me. It is what it is.
Do you know what my nickname has been at work for like the last 15 years?
What?
Whitey. People don't know my name is John. There are people who literally have no idea that's my name.
Why do they call you that?
Take a guess.
But it's not after the guy and you, me, myself, and Irene.
No, it's just low hanging fruit. Because it happened at 2 jobs. Because without me ever telling them that was my nickname, they see me and they're like, "Oh, the whitest guy I've ever seen in my life." Go with Whitey.
Come back to your ancestral land. You know, you will fit in well over here. There's plenty of people.
Yeah, they're not used to the paleness over here.
that are really pale white, like myself. You know, there's plenty of us. You know, we go on holiday, we need like factor 100.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what I need too. So at least it's not over here. It's a little bit different. So it's always low hanging fruit. I literally had a boss that didn't know my name was John. He just he's like literally thought my name was White. Like, do you think my parents would name me that? Like, yeah.
I don't know. Like I listen, each to their own. I don't know if I could. Suppose I don't know if it happened many years ago. Maybe I'd be alright with it, but I don't know. I don't know if I would like a nickname.
Yeah. I it's only at work. It's like never anywhere else. Although because then my family will call me Johnny, and so very rare. It's only I always like John. That's what I always preferred. But
yeah,
you don't always get to choose.
Do you get Jack?
Well, Jack's my dad. That's what he goes by. His name's John, but he goes by Jack. But that's kind of why he wanted to make sure I went by John, because he said it gets very annoying going places when they just call you John.
Yeah,
like you know, and doctors they got to call you by your proper name.
Yeah, and. What was I going to say? I can't remember, man. It's just went out of my head now. So it has about names and stuff. I can't even think. I don't know. Can't remember anymore.
It's all right.
Getting old. But yeah. So anyway, so Frank goes down to check his body, and he's dead. And I always thought that he was going to come back for one last scare.
The way they linger on it makes you think, but his eyes are frozen open, so you're like, he's dead.
Yeah. I'm kind of glad they didn't, because you do expect that, and I don't know if that was the intention, because like there's a lot of movies back then, especially and still now, especially horror movies, that he would have come back firing his gun or with something, but I know what I mean, and he would have to finally get the killer blow, like cutting his head off or something, you know what I mean?
Well, as a tease for one of the movies we're doing pretty soon, I mean, they literally bring that up in Scream, that the killer always comes back for one last scare.
Yeah, it's like cliche, and I think it may be a misdirection with the director, but the director went, "No, I want this to be grounded. He's fell off there, he's dead, and we'll show his face up close to show he is dead."
Yeah, they lingered on that for a long time because it's like almost like you expect it. So he's like, "I'm gonna make sure people know."
I like that in movies. That's the morbid horror fan of me. I like movies that kind of like linger on the villain when they're dead.
Yeah, it definitely makes it a lot more scary.
Yeah. And of course, Frank says it's over. So he breaks into an office and they have phone, and he calls 911 when the cops arrive. And I
love how they come right after him, but they assume that he's a criminal.
Yeah, well, the way the gun comes in, you don't know who it is at first. And the camera kind of pans slowly to the right.
Yeah, let us know it's a cop, and then of course he thinks he's one of the criminals, and he tells him, "No, there's 2 people up there dying." And then another cop comes in right after. He's not lying, they're like, and then they're like, "Oh, okay, you can go then."
It's okay, you can help us. We won't keep you as a suspect or search. You could be carrying a weapon.
Nothing. He's just like, "Okay, now you can show us." He was just about to arrest him.
Yeah, I love how Frank's kind of like, "Oh, I don't believe this."
Yeah, I mean, after the night he's had, I wouldn't either.
Yeah, I know. At this stage, I don't think he cares. He's like, "Oh, fucking hell, you're gonna shoot me, shoot me."
I know, right? I'd be like, "It's over. Just kill me."
Excuse me. Yeah, but we cut then to Frank getting his face attended to, and Meg being wheeled out. And Frank asks, is he going to be okay? And he says he's lost a lot of blood, but his vital signs are good. See, this is where I think this is like an alternate ending, or one of many different endings, where it's kind of like they could have cut the scene where the cops went, your brother's fine, but your friend's dead. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it does feel like a bunch, because the way the line's delivered, because the position that they're in, it's like a low level actor. You
Yeah.
can see them like cycling through a bunch of different endings here in this
Yeah.
one little set that they have built, like in the street, like they're going to close the movie out.
Yeah. I just love how they take the time to end this movie. There's an
Yeah.
awful lot kind of crammed in, tying up all the loose ends. But in saying that, I like that it just didn't cut to the end, and that's it. But a lot of it is kind of like, feels like there's several endings here.
I get that. I could totally. It does feel like a set piece that they could have filmed a bunch of stuff on, and then
Yeah.
decided after the fact, how do we want to end it?
Yeah, and you're beat over the head here about Frank's family, how important they are. But
Oh my
but
god, I know.
But first he says, he says to Meg, Meg's going to be okay, and he says that Meg says, I like this. I better be. I got tickets to the Bears game next week, and Frank says if he's staying at home watching it on TV with Linda and the baby, and he says to him, I love how he shouts after him, "Wimp."
Yeah, like Frank's probably like, I'm never going out again. That's pretty much what that message is.
Yeah, pretty much. And Meg's giddy because he's probably drugged up to the gills of morphine for the pain.
Oh yeah, Mike's all fucking ready, and then so is John.
Well, John, he runs over to John and says to him, "Here, Meg's got tickets, a ticket for you to go to the Bears, the Bears game next week." And he says, "No thanks, I'm too young for this shit."
Yeah, there's the lethal weapon line.
Lethal weapon nod, and again, so the cop is now this is cheesy, but I still like it. It's cheese, good cheese, The cop gives Frank his wallet, and he says, "That's a good-looking family." And then you hear somebody shouting in the background, "Hey, Mr. What? Your wife's outside." Okay, we get it.
I know. My God, I know. It's ridiculous.
And then we hear the do-do-do-do-do-do.
Yep, as we close out the same way we came in.
Yeah, and it's brilliant. I love it. It's just, for me, this is just a feel good 90s thriller with great performances, especially from Cuba Gooding Jr. and Jeremy Piven. Dennis is a scurry bad guy, and I think the movie is competently directed by Stephen Hopkins. That's my thoughts on it.
I have very similar thoughts. I thought that this isn't necessarily like an A plus, A minus tier kind of movie, but a solid B thriller from the 1990s with some very good acting, very good direction, some very standout performances. I think Dennis Leary is a very competent villain. He's doing Dennis Leary things, but I absolutely love that because I'm a big Dennis Leary fan. Emilio Estevez, Cuban Gooding Jr., Stephen Dorff, they all do a great job in this movie. I know I forgot somebody off the top of my head, which is unfortunately Ray, who passed away kind of halfway through the movie. Jeremy Piven, he's great as well. But it definitely feels like a product of the early 1990s with the rap soundtrack that they have in, the Alan Silvestri score, which feels like it's very 90s, the 90s tone to the movie, the way we wrap everything up. But still, it's one you can definitely go back to every few years.
Yeah, I enjoy this movie, and it's definitely one that I will revisit. And I don't think it's dated at all either, apart from maybe the rap music, but it's of its time. And
that's
it's not,
what it is.
It's of its time. It's not heavily bogged down in it. You know what I mean? You just have the tune at the start, at the end, you have a wee bit in the middle, and I'm sure there's other songs in the background, but you're not being beat over the head with it. And just to round it off, the movie was a flop. It was it only grossed 12 million on a 21 million budget.
Yeah, which that's the hurtful thing, and that's why nobody talks about it now, though, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, it's like how I came back. I probably would have been too young to remember this movie anyway in the cinema, even though it came out 2 days before my birthday. But
that's not what you saw for your 11th birthday, your 12th birthday that year.
No, unfortunately not, mate. 1993 October. That's what would I have seen.
I don't even know. It's 93. A lot of good movies came out that year.
Yeah, Jurassic Park, Schindler's List, Philadelphia, maybe.
Hey, yeah, that's a real one that'll pick up the 12-year-old you.
Yeah, maybe it may have been the year after. It may have been the year after. But It's like how I came to it. I came to it on television, and I came to it on Sky Movies because back then, John, Sky Movies, Sky Movies was a great channel. It was like when it had a premiere, like even like Judgment Night, they made a big deal out of it. They got you excited to watch it. You know what I mean? It's like this weekend, Emilio Estevez is in Judgment Night, and they just have this great trailer, and you'd be like, "Oh fuck, that looks good." You know what I mean? So I was at an impressionable age, and so I feel as if a lot of people probably came to this movie that way, television, video, because it was Estevez. So yeah, it's very enjoyable.
I think so. That's the best way I could describe it. You're not going to be bored through this entire film at all. It's very much like you start off, you're pretty much into it, a little bit of setup, like a little prologue, little epilogue, but for the most part, it's this one movie over the course of one night. And it honestly works very, very well. It's very much of the time, but if you can enjoy those kinds of movies, I don't think there's a reason to think that you wouldn't enjoy this one.
Yeah, definitely.
But David, do you want to tell the good folks what we'll be doing next as we get into, spooky season here on the Let's Talk Movies podcast?
Yeah, well, after that terrifying Judgment Night, we will be then we'll be then going for a Scream.
A little bit of
Scream.
a Scream.
Yeah, visiting Woodsboro in Scream.
Mm-hmm. I cannot wait to talk about Scream, one of my all-time favorite horror movies. So this is going to be fun.
Yeah, same with me. One of my favorites, and as you say, John, our first of two movies that we'll be covering in the month of October for spooky season, and this closes out Estevez September.
Yeah, we'll be back next September with more Estevez September, I assume. What will it be?
What will it be? Over a year to decide.
Stakeout 2.
Another stakeout. That's a good call.
I know you would love. We got Young Guns 2, another stakeout, a bunch of them. We never got into the Mighty Ducks.
Could do Loaded Weapon.
Could do Loaded Weapon. I just rewatched the original one not too long ago. Actually, it holds up.
Yeah, I love Loaded Weapon.
Yeah. Loaded Weapon and Loaded Weapon 2, right?
I don't think there's a second one.
Is there not a second one? Am I wrong?
I don't think there is.
Am I wrong? Because I thought there was Loaded Weapon 1. You know why? The movie's called Loaded Weapon 1.
So you thought there was this too?
Yeah, it's literally called Loaded Weapon 1.
I know, that's right. I know that's the joke. That's right. I forgot there was a 1 on the end.
93 also, same year as this.
I got the same year. I love Loaded Weapon 1. I don't like Loaded Weapon 2. I don't think I've seen that one.
Yeah, you don't think you saw it? So, all right, guys, that's gonna do it here for us. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and make sure you tell all your friends about us, because that way we can keep this show going forever and ever. And we'll be seeing you around.